Who does Wiz think he is, huh? Who does this guy think he is? Reading one more chapter? Get out of here, dude. We got some progress to make today, guys. Hold up. Okay, however much we can in like 3 hours. We got 3 hours, but however much we can in 3 hours. All right, 1 sec. I was watching Weatherway CC stream. Really? Yep, bro. Bro. Who does Wiz think he is? Just reading one more chapter? He has a sore throat. He should be resting. He's sick right now, bro. He should be resting. You guys gotta tell him to stop pushing himself, okay? Leave the Wiz guy. Hey, I didn't say that. You guys said that. I didn't say that. Hold up. Let me mute my phone. Bear with me. 1 sec. Hold up, brothers. Just muted my phone. That way we don't get too distracted. Ah, damn. All right. 20 chapters? Hold up. I can only go live for like 3 hours right now. Unless I go live later at nighttime. Because the missus is back in like 3 hours or so. Yeah. She's still a few hours out, and then when she comes back, we're gonna hang out. Damn it, right after there's another whisper. I know. He said he was gonna keep you guys updated. Nah, he should rest. We're gonna keep reading though. Hold up. I finally figured out the secret sauce for anime reacts, by the way. I think I got it. I think that's why I could have been streaming earlier, but I was trying to edit the video, trying to figure out how to edit. I've watched enough videos, or I've seen enough like how to make anime react videos to realize like you can only keep a video intact for like 5 to 10 seconds, otherwise it claims it, and then it's like I kind of figured out. It's coming back. Yeah, the reason I've been streaming so long, Miss Easy Geeky hasn't been here for like 3 days. She was on vacation. She was out and about, but she coming back, so it's like, shit. It's like I gotta go back to that. Son of a bitch. So we're gonna be reading. Let me set up. React to how to react to anime videos. That's literally what I was doing. I just didn't do a react video. Let me set this up in the meantime. Bear with me. They're trying to catch up to you easy. We must do 24-hour stream to leave everyone else in the dust. Dude, OG, I think that's what I have to do, man. I think I have to go beyond my limits, man. I think I have to go beyond my limits. Okay. What's the last chapter for this volume? You guys can tell me. It's all right. It's not spoilers. You guys can. I mean, you can even bring it down. You can round out the 10s, right? Or like round out the 5s. We need to break our limiter. Like, unironically, we need to fucking break our limiter because I don't know how this man can do it. He just keeps reading, and like he needs to take a break. You know, he's sick. He has to rest. You know, like I don't want him to push himself. You know. OG is a new mod for reals. What do you mean? He's the OG, dude. He's literally the OG. Let me set this up. Let me set up. Where's the fucking chapter? Okay, this is set up. Beautiful. Yeah, but right now I'm only gonna go for 3 hours, and then I could probably come back a little bit later in the night. But let me set this up. Remove our old timestamps. Wiz reads one more chapter? Yeah. He said he read one more chapter out of spite to get at me? He just doesn't lock in for work. Volume 3 ends around 7:30. It's 50 chapters. 25 chapters today, 25 chapters tomorrow? Hold up. Realistically, 25 chapters today, 25 tomorrow, or 20 today, 30 tomorrow? I think we could do it. You're on 669? 31? Yeah, right. 70? 670? They're disrespecting me for real? No, never. There's with or without stalling, zero stalling. We're gonna start the recording now. We're gonna break our limiters. The plan is is to finish volume 3 by tomorrow. Monday If not Tuesday. And depending on how much we stop, maybe Wednesday. Point is, we're done with this in between 2 to 4 days with this chapter. Because who does Wiz think he is? This guy is sick. He needs to be resting. He needs to be recovering his voice, you know? Who does he think he is? He just gets to stream and read one more chapter than me, and then he takes the lead? That's so mean. I thought we were homies. Like, why would he do me like that? We'll find out. Well, so for now, quick plug. I think we figured out the sauce for doing anime reacts, so I uploaded To Be Hero X episode 2 to 3 react. I know most of you guys aren't here for that, but if you could, it would mean a lot to me if you'd like, comment that video, share that video, and then that video gets a little bit more views. Because I think that's gonna be a good format for the Donghuo anime reacts. Reacts have to be like, each clip has to be between 5 to 10 seconds, otherwise they get claimed and they get auto picked up. It's really tricky. It's really finicky, you know? But I think we figured it out. So for now, chapter 669. Nice. I watched that. I like To Be Hero X. I like it. It's I'm starting to get a little too invested. But for now, Lord of Mysteries. Chapter 669, as we take the lead again. Exchange of information. Here we go. Here we go. Exchange of information. I need to change the music. I just realized I still have Tekken music playing. Hold up. Awesome intros out the way. Okay. Okay. Paste. Yo, what's up? How you guys doing? All right, let's change the music. And we take the lead. We take the lead in one chapter. He said he read 670, right? All right, we take the lead. All right, chapter 669. Nice. It's called Exchange of Information. Oh, yeah. The ravings were from the True Creator. The True Creator. The ravings that fill these waters come from the True Creator. Upon hearing Queen Mystic's answer, Klein was surprised while feeling somewhat joyful. He was rejoicing because, just as Queen Mystic said, if she hadn't boarded the ship, Heath Doyle might have undergone a mutation, even... I almost mispronounced my words already. Even with the existence of sealed artifacts, if she hadn't boarded the ship, Heath Doyle might have undergone a mutation, even with the existence of a sealed artifact which could reduce his auditory senses to a certain extent. That is true. They did talk about that. Nice. Yeah, that's right. Nice. Sorry, I'm getting too competitive. I'm mispronouncing everything already. Towards low and mid-sequence beyond of the other pathways, they would only feel repressed and frustrated, or they would have occasionally suffered some nightmares when faced with the True Creator's ravings without actually listening to them. But to Rose Bishop, the sequence 0 for his corresponding pathway was a True Creator. To be immersed in the ravings of that evil god, even if he was deaf, something would have happened to him sooner or later. So even if he was completely free from like the negative side effects of listener when you have to like listen to him and whatnot, he would still succumb to it in the end. Okay. Once Heath Doyle went mad or lost control, together with the uniqueness of these waters, it was truly different for the rest of the people on board of the ship to be safe. However, Klein believed that as long as he could survive the sudden attack, he would have had the chance to pray to the full and use Sea God Scepter above the Grey Fog to provide a response to resolve the problems. He was surprised that the owner of the ravings was in complete contradiction with his theory. He originally imagined that these waters were the battlefields between the ancient gods and the creator worshipped by the City of Silver during the Second Epoch. He suspected that the subsidiary gods, who were also the corresponding angels, had participated in the Second Epoch. He suspected that the subsidiary gods, who were also the corresponding angels, had participated in as well. To his surprise, this appeared to be wrong from the beginning. This was because the true creator had apparently first appeared after the Third Epoch's cataclysm. I cannot rule out the possibility that the ravings were later left behind. Klein didn't blindly make a conclusion. He watched as Queen Mystic walked past him as he caressed the sculptures on the handrail and slowly walked down. The lady's back was tall, neither far from thin. He figured it was extremely protruded, and her long chestnut hair simply cascaded down. This made Klein feel a sense of familiarity. After recalling the matters involving Queen Mystic, he finally recalled the source of familiarity. Back when he was searching for the cards of blasphemy in the Roselle Memorial Exhibition, he had seen a similar back. Back then, the figures dressed somewhat oddly. Despite wearing a yellow layered dress, which had the vibes of a young girl, she wore a black, out-of-fashion bonnet. She was likely Queen Mystic. She had also visited the Roselle Memorial Exhibition ahead of time. Back then, she was looking at the basic education books the Emperor had approved from his children in the Chinese chess and toys blocks. She was certainly that I had taken the Black Emperor card. The Emperor's eldest daughter, Bernadette, established the element dawn. Whoa, 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 what? The emperor's eldest daughter, Bernadette, established the element dawn to resist the Moses ascetic order, and from the diary, the lady appreciates the maxim, do as you wish, but do not harm. Therefore, from these 2 points, it can be inferred that she's likely a demigod of the mystery prior pathway. No, I know, but like, I was trying to see if no. Well, I'm trying to see if Klein is gonna make the connection between Queen Mystic and Bernadette. That's what I like. I want to see if he's gonna be like, wait, does that mean that maybe Queen Mystic is Bernadette? The mystery prior pathway sequence 4 remember this mysticologist Queen Mystic. Of course, I read that wrong. The reputation of Queen Mystic has long been known across the sea for more than 100 years. She's definitely not a sequence 4 anymore. Yes, after Catlia left Queen Mystic, she joined the Moses ascetic order. Okay, so he's inferring that it's her. This queen seems to take the interpretation of Roselle's diary very seriously. Art sorts of fragmented piece of information came together as Klein suddenly had a theory. Perhaps Queen... okay, so he's coming up with that theory already. Perhaps Queen Mystic was Emperor Roselle's eldest daughter, Bernadette Gustav. That's crazy, though. It's cool that he's finally making that connection. That's pretty cool. This might explain why the queen dresses in the style that resembles Earth's, but also appears rather strange. She's taking on her dad's fashion, okay? She has been deeply influenced by the Emperor's performance, and she's unable to completely extract herself from fashion trends. Hence, she mixes them in with a unique and strange style she calls her own. As for it being aesthetically pleasing, that's a whole other matter. A beautiful person will look good and fashionable, even with a gunny sack? What does that even mean? Klein lampooned inwardly, but he wore a solemn expression. He unhurriedly followed Queen Mystic down the beautiful staircase. Queen Mystic didn't turn her head. As she walked, she said, this dream world isn't vast. There are only 2 parts. One of them is the projection of the Giant King's Court on the opposite mountain, and the other is the Black Cloister over here. Giant King's Court, the majestic building complex that seemed frozen in the sunset, surfaced in Klein's mind. This is actually the projection of the Giant King's Court, and Little Sun and company happened to be at the entrance of Giant King's Court after noontime. Queen Mystic said with a gentle but emotionless tone, this is my theory, and it resembles Great Twilight Hall and Fasik. And in the 4th epoch, has always been rumors that the god of combat is an ancient giant who survived the cataclysm. The god of combat pathway is the giant pathway. Klein inwardly expressed his agreement with Queen Mystic's theories. I'm sorry. Wait, so because it's called the giant pathway, sequence 0 is called giant, correct? Yes. So that's the only spoiler I know of. When I was looking at the wiki, like during volume 2 by accident, I know we've had this conversation before, and the pathway that was revealed to be sequence 0 was giant. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like Dom Paladin and all these other abilities, or all these other pathways have sequences have abilities that make them giant-esque or whatever. And then like we just found out Colin Iliad might have like a giant form, this and that. So it's like, okay, it would make sense. Sequence 0 is giant. I know. Oh, happy birthday to happy birthday to Ellie's dad. Who's Creeping Hunger? What? No, it's not my birthday. Wait, did you just call Ellie's dad Creeping Hunger? And in the 4th epoch, there's always been rumors that the god of combat is an ancient giant who survived the cataclysm. The god of combat pathway is the giant pathway. Klein inwardly expressed his agreement with Queen Mystic's theory. Oh, it's Father's Day. Hey, thank you guys. Happy Father's Day. Hey, happy Father's Day to you guys. At this moment, he recalled the mythical information he had received from Little Sun. I completely missed that joke. I missed the pun when you guys were talking about Ellie's dad. I'm like, who? It's like, oh, of course, me. She's expressing her goodwill to me, they entirely backing him. Heh? And the person backing me is myself. Klein calmly replied, the real Giant's King Court is a forsaken land of gods. He said this matter is in an indifferent tone, so as to accentuate his value and entity backing him. Queen Mystic stopped in her tracks as she pressed down on the beautifully sculptured handrail with her right palm. She half turned her body to face German's brow and said at an adequate speed, rumor has it that the path leading to the forsaken lands of God is hidden in the mountain across us, hidden in the projection of the Giant King's Court. So Little Sun and company had been exploring the afternoon town, but didn't Jack mention that they had appeared by the sea? The Giant King's Court and the projection of the Giant King's Court must have switched in them. Only by opening them ahead of time can these two seas meet? Okay. Only by opening them. Okay, so when it physically opens, then they meet. The place is filled with the true creator's ravings, and it hides the secret of the forsaken land of gods. It has remnant powers of the Evernight, Sun, Storm, Earth, and Spectator pathway. That is a lot. This seems to correspond to the Cataclysm. I'm sorry, what? This seems to correspond to the Cataclysm? Is he inferring that this is like where the Cataclysm originated from? After the Cataclysm, the forsaken lands of God was isolated from the outside world. True. The goddess, eternal blazing sun, Lord of Storms, Earth Mother, and company saved the world while the true creator appeared. Only the Spectator pathway's imagination doesn't exactly add up. Klein made a guess based on whatever information he knew at hand. Queen Mystic continued walking down as she said, the black cloister here doesn't appear big, but each building and every level represents a different part of these waters. Behind every door might hide the dream of a creature. I see. Klein glanced at the handrail and discovered that the sculpture on it was mainly that of a human's head. It was beautiful at a glance, but terrifying on careful inspection. Hence, he asked in passing, whose dream does this staircase belong to? An undying from the numinous episcopate, he came here in search of death's remains. One of the main requirements of the artificial... one of the main requirements of the artificial death. An actual piece of death. However, he lost control as a result of the ravings, and he forever loitering in an underground ruin, turning every adventurer who dares to enter into becoming his zombie. Queen Mystic calmly explained, that's such a bad way to go out. Death was also involved in the Battle of Gods that happened here? Yes? Wait, I thought that was during the War of the Four Emperors, so now it's like he was also present during the Cataclysm? It's no wonder Admiral Hell would have taken... I'm mixing up battles. Or like events. It's no wonder Admiral Hell would take the risk and enter these waters from time to time. Klein felt enlightened. He wasn't alarmed about the matter regarding artificial death, and he also had previously heard Demoness of Unaging Catalina Pele mentioned it before. Furthermore, the numinous episcopate seems to be rather far from success. At this moment, just as Queen Mystic finished walking down the staircase, she turned to glance on him. Right on the heels of that, the lady turned into a corridor and entered the building. Klein surveyed the area and discovered that there were no longer any stairs leading down. They were apparently at the bottom level. By the way, we have new fan art. If it pops up right now. Yeah, we have a new one. The homie came through. Thank you for subscribing. Homie came through with new fan art since we finally hit Sequence 5 Marionettist. They were apparently at the bottom level. When it pops up, it'll be right here. Somewhere right here. Queen Mystic stopped in front of the black wooden door filled with strange patterns. She gripped its hand and said, I've always suspected that the dream within the key to be sustaining this place. The remnant powers of the Evernight only provided the possibility of such a development. As she spoke, she twisted the handle and opened the door. The back door slowly moved back, and behind it wasn't a room that Klein had imagined, but a sea. The sea was illuminated by the blinding sunlight. The waves were huge, swaths of rich gold. As the door opened, Klein found an unimaginable aura seep out from the inside. The entire building began to quake in an obvious manner, and the dust and bricks on the walls began to fall. Suddenly, Klein felt that the dream was on the brink of shattering. At this moment, Queen Mystic pulled her right hand, shattering the black wooden door tightly. Everything was restored to normal as a result of this. Even I do not dare to enter the... I read that wrong. Even I do not... I read it right. Never mind. Never mind. Even I do not dare enter. This might figure, as the mysterious world said. This place has the dreams of certain remnant deities. Klein said calmly, as though he had some backing him, allowing him to grasp the situation ahead of time. Queen Mystic turned around as her blue eyes swept over German Sparrow's face. These waters and the black cloister hidden hides a lot of secrets. My understanding of it might not even reach a single %. She didn't continue as she silently looked at German Sparrow as though waiting for someone. Lag? I apologize for the lag. It looks like it's stabilized. No one but Cuttlefish can actually remember all of LLTM lore. So I shouldn't feel that bad. Okay, so I don't feel that bad when I forget stuff then. Thank you for backing me up, Ascend. What immense pressure. Klein thought for a moment and asked probingly, do you know the activation incantation of the Black Emperor card? Queen Mystic fell silent for a few seconds and shook her head. Klein looked her in the eye. Bernadette. The entire corridor turned so silent that even their breathing could be heard. Queen Mystic's lips moved a little before they pursed together. Her blue eyes temporarily lost their focus, but they quickly recovered their profundity. Queen Mystic turned around at an adequate speed, walked to the black staircase, and said without a change in her tone, the dream is ending. Ooh, she's trying to hide it. Lag, it stopped. Oh, thank you guys. Klein looked at her back, move up to the back of the staircase until the blinding light drowned out everything. Afternoon town. Upon seeing the candlelight light up in the candles outside, the silent town seemed to come to life. Derek felt as though they had plummeted into a nightmare as they instantly tensed up. Demon Hunter Colin observed for a while before solemnly saying, we are in the real world. The power of the altar has leaked out. All right, next chapter, 670. All right, let's keep reading. Let me sip my coffee while I'm doing my timestamps. 14 minutes. 14 minutes. So this is the last chapter Wiz read? This is the last chapter Wiz read, right? Wait, no, he's on this chapter, right? He's on 670. Alright. Let me update this bad boy up here and we'll keep reading. Can I not fucking click on it? Holy shit, dude. This was the last one. Alright, so I guess this is the last one our competitor read, huh? Chapter 670 is called Repenter. We're way too competitive for this, man. That strange afternoon town has infiltrated the afternoon town in reality. Derek vaguely understood what Chief was saying as he had a rough guess as to why this had happened. He suspected that when Mr. Fool pulled him out of the strange afternoon town, he had broken an intricate balance, causing the powers to seep out. This also explained why Demon Hunter Colin Ilya didn't vanish immediately when he repeated the attempt. Just as Derek was wondering what kind of changes this would bring about, his chief of the six-member council, Colin, had taken out a luminescent powder from a pouch on the belt. As he scattered it in the air, the powder suddenly blasted apart, spewing silver light upwards, and made it appear extremely obvious in such dark environments. Derek, Heem, and Joshua knew very well what this signal meant. It meant not to run about haphazardly. Stay in your area, be wary against any incoming enemies, await rescue. Without a doubt, this was a signal to all the other exploration teams scattered across the afternoon town. Colin consecutively released the signal thrice in a span of 2 lightning bolts. Then he turned and said to Derek and company, "We shall meet up with the rest by combing outwards. Be careful along the way." Yes, Chief. Derek had already forgotten the grievance from before, only wishing that he could help his partners as soon as possible. Following Colin's instructions, he took the left flank of the small team on the other side of the red-gloved Joshua, who held an iron-black sword that lining the back was a relatively stronger Dawn Paladin, Haim, and right in front of it was a Demon Hunter who was about 3 steps away. As lightning flashed at relatively fast intervals, the glooming afternoon town would go from being bright to darkness. The candlelight from each window showed a wavering flame that burned in silence and calmly. Derek was no longer the fleeing he once was, although he was nervous. His palm didn't sweat while holding the axe of a hurricane. He carefully moved his gaze around, wary against any monsters that might leap out from the buildings of both sides. After a flash of lightning, the world was thrown back into darkness. The bits of candlelight in the afternoon town seemed to await travelers that needed lodging. As for the animal's hide, lanterns in the Heim hand, its light scattered outwards, but it failed to produce much light in a radius around him. It wasn't as effective at Derek's night vision. The only usage was that it appeared to dispel the rich darkness around him. At that moment, Derek suddenly felt a chill down his neck, but there wasn't any cold winds. What is it? He didn't turn his head subconsciously. Instead, he took one step diagonally, half turning his body, and glanced through the corner of his eyes. He saw the nearly 6.5 feet? Close, a little over 6 feet? He saw the nearly 6-foot-tall Haim looking at him with a gloomy expression. He cleaved down with a broadsword in his hand. Bang! Derek somersaulted to dodge the strike. Why is he hitting him? Derek somersaulted to dodge the strike as he seemed to still hear the echoing sounds of the intense wind falling as he heard the chief's voice. What happened? Haim attacked me. Derek rolled towards Colin's direction and stood up. Haim held the animal hide lantern in one hand and his broadsword in the other hand, asking with a look of puzzlement. Colin glanced at Derek. I didn't discover any abnormalities on his part. As he spoke, the Demon Hunter's eyes produced 2 dark green symbols. His eyes produced 2 dark green symbols. He surveyed the area and said, the attacker transformed... Oh, it's shapeshift into Haim. The attacker transformed into the appearance to Haim's. Before he finished his sentence, the silver sword that was clenching tightly in his right hand stabbed backwards. Oof. Amidst the dull clashing sounds, a figure appeared in the dark environment. He had grizzled, the disheveled hair. With deep wrinkles, he had weathered but profound blue eyes, and he held a silver sword with light gray oil slattered over it, looking identical to Demon Hunter Colin. The only difference was his gloomy expression and dark skin. Bam, bam, bam. 2 silver swords clashed in midair, sending sparks flying. Meanwhile, Colin Elias shouted with a deep voice, "Light! Light!" Derek instinctively raised his hand and pressed them to his mouth and nose. At that instant, he discovered 3 figures dashing out from the surrounding darkness. One of them was a tall and muscular Haim, another the red-gloved Joshua, and the last was one of the top person with a childlike appearance, Derek himself. Derek wasn't thrown into fluster. He acted in accordance with the chief's instructions and released the lustrous brilliance from his body. The 3 figures seemed horrified of this as they raised their palms to cover their face while attempting to escape to the sides. However, their speeds were in no way comparable to the speed of light. The lustrous brilliance illuminated the surroundings, enveloping the three figures of women. They opened their mouths and let out silent screams, but they soon dimmed and vanished. As the light surged outwards, the two demon hunters were consumed by the light. The actions of one of them immediately turned stiff and was impeded before losing its color and turning completely black. Oof. The silver sword with light grayish oil slathered on its penetrated the monster, but it seemed to stab into the air, failing to cause any actual damage. At this moment, the black monster suddenly mutated itself, cracking into the distorted shadows as they corroded the light and flames, inch by inch. Colin retracted his silver sword and turned his head to Derek and company. The monsters this time are our shadows. Their weakness is the brightness of the light. Oh, I mean, then I guess Derek is perfect for this fight, dude. As he spoke, the chief's body produced a bright and holy light of dawn, illuminating the entire street as though it was day. That is so sick that they can do that. This was a beyond power of a Dawn Paladin he would receive from the warrior pathway. The reason why he didn't use it from the beginning was because the effects were obvious and he had no idea what kind of accident it might bring. Now he was already aware of the weakness of these monsters in the afternoon town. The light of dawn produced by the chief was like a domain. Haim gave up his plans, and using similar Beyonder powers, he continued holding up an animal hide lantern and followed behind Colin and Iliad with Derek and Joshua as they turned into another street. Before long, the quartet arrived at the half-collapsed cathedral. The cathedral originally had a tower, and its entirety was made up of classical stone columns and masonry. They were heavy and dark. Passing through the door that even a giant would find wide, Derek followed the chief and came to the prayer hall. They saw the deity statue destroyed, but the candle on the altar had been lit by some unknown entity. In front of the altar, a figure donning a Spartan white robe was prostrated there, praying so softly that no one could hear him. He's not one of us, Haim. We have also night vision. We're the first to discover the abnormality thanks to its height. This means that it's not a monster that was transformed from our teammate Shadows. Derek helped Haim express the content between the lines inwardly. This meant an unknown, and an unknown often represented extreme danger. There should have been an exploration team here. Colin converged the range of his light and dawn to prevent himself from provoking the white-robed figure. Haim, Joshua, and Derek suddenly fell silent. Under such a situation, the absence of the exploration team's merely appearance basically meant an undesirable outcome. How? I need to enable CCC in order to see real-time translation. I think it doesn't work if I have low latency. Oh, I have low latency. Let me see. No, I can't. I don't know. If I had it on normal latency, it's able to do it. Yeah. No, you can have live translations if you have normal latency on. If there's like a 20-second delay. But because I have it on low, or I can't use ultra low. I can't. My internet can pull off ultra low. But if I have low latency on, CC doesn't work. If I had normal, it would have worked. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. What the hell? When did this start? It started when Wiz finished streaming, clown. I know. I started when Wiz ended his stream. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I've been kind of bad. I didn't schedule like the last 2 days. Skill issue? No, YouTube doesn't send out notifications all the time, man. I find that weird. But don't worry. Tomorrow, okay, look. After stream, I'm gonna hang out with the missus. I'm gonna run a few errands, and then if I get all my errands done in due fashion and due diligence, and I finish everything, tomorrow, we're gonna lock in for the whole day. I know I always say that and I don't do it, but tomorrow the goal is to stream over 8 hours. We're gonna be like this at the end, like we're gonna be so out of it when we're done. But that is the goal. If I can pull that off tomorrow, but we'll see. But I hope it's a good stream. Thank you. All right, let me find my place because I lost my place. How many chapters did you read? This is barely our second chapter. Let me find my place because I am lost. Their minds race as two men dressed in tight black clothes walked out from the right side of the hall. There were two members of the exploration team of the cathedral. Chief, those shadows. Those shadows are problematic. Lario was swallowed by his own shadow. Schedule stream early? I know. I do apologize for that, though, guys. One of the teammates swiftly made his way to Colin and immediately said in agitation and fear, "Has someone already been sacrificed?" With Derek's heart sank, he saw the light of the dawn expanded, enveloping the two teammates within. The two of them suddenly wore ferocious expressions as their bodies rapidly darkened. Just 2 seconds later, they completely vanished like shadows that had been illuminated. Smack, smack, smack. White bones and globes of bloody flesh fell from their bodies, smashed into the ground. Light slowly infused out of these mangled carcasses? Colin retracted his gaze and said, without an expression, get to the side of the at the what? Get to the side of excelsiated and here. I cannot read that. I cannot read that damn word.
Colin retracted his gaze as he said, without an expression, go to the side of the ecclesiastic
And hear what it's reciting. Derek and company nodded in silence as they sent off towards the collapsed statues. About 10 steps later, when you do long streams, you ignore a lot of lore. Yeah, that does happen. So we're going to take it pretty slow. We're going to take it at a normal place. We're going to take it at a normal pace though tomorrow. Yeah, we're not going to try and like rapid fire it because I know I am going to miss a lot of stuff. Colin retracted his gaze as he said without an expression, go to the side of the exiliatic and hear when it's reciting. Derek and company nodded in silence as they set off towards the collapsed statue. About 10 steps later, they discerned the white-robed figure appearance from diagonally across. He was crying, a middle-aged man with deep fractures. The eccentric face was nearly plastered to the ground as he muttered to himself, Obstinate Lord, I repeat, tempted Caesar. The kings often came to the place belonging to the dusk to conspire. It was unknown when people within the town changed. They set up a secret altars and held a strange rituals. Doing this you forbade. It was already too late by the time I discovered all this. Degeneration, bloodshed, darkness, rot, murders, corruptions, and shadows had already drowned this piece of land. When you reach you will remember nothing. Yeah, I know. So I know that is the one problem when I read long. It's hard for me to retain a lot of lore. But we'll see how we juggle it. A huge calamity will be there. These words kept repeating like a prophet describing the inevitable future with a heavy voice. A huge calamity would begin here. The abundant from the lords that created everything of this land. Is this where it began? Also, who tempted Dark Angel Caesar? I cannot read this word, man. This exiliatic should have stated who. It's been after he said that the words I repent, there should be names, but it was blank. He originally said it, but the name vanished in it itself. Who wiped it away? The exelectic. I'm going to say that this E. This Ek should have been from the strange afternoon town. After the balance was broken, he appeared here. Otherwise, he should have been discovered in the previous exploration. Many thoughts flashed through his mind in a short span of time. At that moment, he saw the chief take a stride, walking to the side of the Ek in white. Memories from this person said. Klein, who woke up from his dream in midday sunlight. Oh, POV change? Klein, who woke up from his dream as midday sunlight shone at his eyes from the outside the window. He rolled out of bed and he unhurriedly arrived at the pirate's dining hall. When Frank Lee saw his arrival, he merely waved at him. German, I discovered something new. Fuck, what now? Klein immediately felt his heart in his moment. A new invention of yours. No, it isn't. Frank shook his head in excitement. I was planning on studying the fish in these waters. They will likely be able to dream. Just as I tried fishing, I ended up getting this strange item. What did he get? What the fuck did he get? Alright, wait, quick timestamp. I'm also going to change the music. I want to play that Witcher soundtrack Wiz told me about. Hold up. Give me a sec. Bear with me. Let me just get this one. Where is it? Let me find it. I saw the trailer for this other anime called Gachi Akuta, whatever it's called. It was a cool trailer. I can't find it. Hold up. I know Wiz sent it to me. Hold up. That's such cool fan art. Okay. Let me pause this one. I'm sad you're gonna pass me again, but happy you're gonna do it listening to the Witcher side, okay? Now I'm gonna play the one you sent me, dude. Yeah, dude. I think I told you, Wiz. I think I said when I was streaming last time. I don't know if you heard. They're working on a alleged third DLC for The Witcher 3. My life is almost complete. No fucking way. You finished it? I say rate it, but I don't want to know a rating just yet. I want to go in blind, guys. I want to go in blind. That's pretty cool, though, that you finished it. All right. Let me lower this a bit for you guys. Fuck, man. Hearing this music makes me want to drop streaming. And just replay The Witcher for an entire month off stream, dude. Oh, I know. The time to start replaying. I know, dude. I actually downloaded it on this PlayStation. So, I don't know. I might play it on stream. I don't know. We'll see. It's so hard to, like, time everything. All right. Let me get my timestamp ready. 25 minutes. 13 seconds. Copy. Paste. Oh, wait. Yo, I don't know if Wiz is still here. I think if we do Dunkwa Reacts, bro, I think DaVinci, the DaVinci 19 or DaVinci 20 is a good way to edit videos from, at least from what I've looked at least for the anime reacts. It makes it easier to see like the dead air moments when we're not speaking. So I might switch from using CapCuts to that platform, to that editing software. So we'll see how it works out. All right, 671. Everything is updated right here. Why the? If there's an Ultimate RPG playing, I play it. Dude, guys, we are fucking playing that shit religiously when it comes out, okay? Remember, when it comes out, we might take like 2 to 3 days off from reading so we can like grind that game, all right? Just to see. Oh, cool. I normally edit on MacBook on Final. Oh, shit. I don't got Mac. On Final Cut, it's quite good? Okay. I'm on Windows. Okay, got it. Mushroom King cook again? I don't know, man. You guys have mentioned Mushroom King before. I don't know who that is. I don't know if I want to know who he is. So we'll probably hold off a little bit. We'll probably hold off on that for a little bit. But let's keep reading. 671. Chapter 671 is called The Fourth Name. Strange item. Klein instantly felt a headache. What the am I saying? Klein instantly felt a headache, but he asked with an unperturbed expression, "What is it? Fish with human fingers growing in them? Did they mutate?" Without waiting for Gurman's reply, Frank ran into the dining room hall. Before long, he ran back and held a strange bluish-black fish in his hand. The fish was of normal length. In the space where its eyes were, it had a face resembling a human. Its belly had been dissected, and 3 bloody fingers could be seen stuffed inside. It wasn't inserted by me. It was originally like that. Look at its teeth. It's very unlikely that it will eat something like that, so it can only be the case of fingers producing themselves. Of course, I'm currently unable to determine what the fingers would do to its body. Frank hurriedly explained his judgment. Klein glanced at the fish and said, after some deliberation, "It might also be stuffed inside by someone." Makes sense. Then it's not it's not the most unique fish. Frank was stunned for a second as he Frank is disappointed, right? Frank was stunned for a second as he appeared somewhat disappointed. He is. Fingers are considered flesh and blood. I'll ask Heath. He's an expert on such matters. As he spoke, he surveyed the area and found Heath Doyle, who was huddled in a corner of eating. Frank quickly went over and placed the bluish-black fish before Bloodless. Heath Doyle extended his hands and pressed his face to the fish. Upon seeing the scene, Frank had a baffling feeling that something was amiss. He soon reacted and laughed. "No, this isn't food for you. You've been eating fish all this time to the point that even your body smells of fish." What I meant was to ask if you knew the fingers inside of the fish's stomach. Can you find its original owner? Can he do that? Heath Doyle stopped his leaning actions and carefully studied it for a few seconds. They belong to a Rose Bishop's, at least a Rose Bishop's. He took out the 3 bloody fingers and stacked them together. After a brief moment, the fingers melted like wax, turning into a bottle of sticky flesh and blood. The flesh and blood squirmed as he drew a word in blood red. "Help? What the fuck?" Fingers from a Rose Bishop, help. Upon seeing the scene, Klein instantly made some connections. He recalled the Saint of Darkness and Leo Master from the Dream World. This Aurora Order Saint, Aurora, oh my God, man. Ever since we talked about it last stream, now I can't unhear it. The Aurora, oh my God, I can't unhear it now. Fucking shit, dude. This word is so cursed now. This Aurora Order Saint was in a particular ruin, and he was affected by the remnant powers of an angel or deity of the spectator pathway, causing him to disassociate and transform into a kind character. This resulted in him being trapped there. My homies, Aurora. His good and evil side constantly followed, often clashing at the psyche level. The main persona, which was more inclined towards the darkness, gradually held the advantage as the good personality hid elsewhere in the mind world in search for help. Therefore, this is an attempt on Leo Master's good side to call for help. As a saint of the Aurora Order, he might very well advance to from a shepherd, so it's nothing strange. Let me lower the volume down just a smidge more. As a saint of the Aurora Order, he might very well have advanced from a shepherd, so it is nothing strange to have the beyond power of a Rose Bishop. Klein nodded in thought, believing that his judgment was likely close to the truth. Help? How? Frankly turned his head to Gurman Sparrow with a blank look. "You should ask your captain, not me." Klein shook his head. "You don't have to bother." There are too many oddities with these waters. The reason for giving this option was from that dream, Leo Master's main persona held the absolute advantage. To really rescue him, he needed to make preparations to deal with a demigod. Although the good side would definitely interfere with the bad side, all it could do was lower the Saint of Darkness's strength to a certain extent. It would still remain a demigod. Of course, Queen Mystic on board of the future took too many. Any actual attempts wasn't impossible, but Leo Master were so easily rescued and have some time become a completely good Saint of Darkness. Klein believed that the Queen would have long done so. The reason why she didn't take action had to be because it was unrealistic. For example, the place where Leo Master is that causes one spirits to disassociate so much as Queen Mystic doesn't even dare challenge it. Leo Master's dream was only particularly restored. It nearly made me face a situation I couldn't deal with. Finally, I resolved the problem quickly with the Sea God Scepter. If I were to meet him in the real world, I'd really suffer a disassociation in personality. Becoming a member of the asylum, I would have to find a way to bore the mental terror candle from Father Trotsky to have a chance of being treated. I can also get Miss Justice to treat me, but she's still lacking in strength at the moment. Klein recalled the past as she gestured inwardly. Yeah, Frank Lee trusted German Sparrow a lot. Perhaps the fellow who's asking for help is long dead. Upon saying this, his eyes suddenly lit up as he stared at Heath Doyle. Can you wipe out the mental imprint left on his flesh and blood? Yes, Heath Doyle replied succinctly. The end of Frank Lee's mouth cracked open bit by bit as he smiled like 200-pound child. I've always been very curious about the flesh and blood structure of the Rose Bishop. I've always thought of an outrage of using similar flesh and blood as a medium for crossbreeding. That's gross. One day you would die amidst your experiments. Thankfully, I'll be leaving. Thankfully, I'm out. Thankfully, I'll be leaving the ship soon. Klein had the baffling impression of a bratish child entering an armory. What do you think of the lore of that guy earlier told us about the Angel Kings? Which part exactly? Which part? Wait, which one are you talking about? On Sasmir? I don't get it. I'm finding it confusing. I'm not gonna lie. I do find it confusing. Go to Lord Discord. I know I'm saying his name wrong, right? Sasir. I sent it there. Let me see. It's like every time like something gets introduced, it's not that I don't get it. It's just I guess it's not that it's too much. I guess yes, no. It's overwhelming. But let me put this right here. Let me see. The eccentric face was nearly plastered to the ground as he muttered to himself, "Omniscient Lord." There's the part I found where when he said omniscient, I'm like, hold up. We got way too omniscient people now. We have way too omnipotent people now. I repent, Tempter Sasir. The king often came to the palace belonging to the Dusk Conspire. It was unknown when the people in this town changed. They set up secret altars and held strange rituals, doing things for yeah, like not only did they believe in the true creator or like the ancient sun god, but they also did like 3 other ancient kings of angels. It was already too late by the time I discovered all this degeneration, bloodshed, darkness, rot, murders, corruption, and shadows had already drowned this piece of the land. A huge calamity will begin here. And then when it said they're talking about okay, so they're talking about ancient sun god, not Sasir. Got it. And now that it says a huge calamity will begin here. That has me thinking about the prophecy Klein heard. The like in like 200 years. What was it? In 200 years there will be an apocalypse. And then Klein is like, hold up, that's not that far from like my current time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know, man. It's just he's really sus. Sasir's the calamity. I don't know if it's necessarily him. I think like maybe the kings of angels were used like by the ancient sun god, right? Like be it their choice or not their choice. Oh, you're pretty sure it's talking about the cataclysm. Okay, they did talk about how the cataclysm originated there. Okay. They're talking about the cataclysm, not the future calamity that Klein has been hearing about, right? Got it. Yeah, maybe he was corrupted. But now it's like, why was he corrupted? Who corrupted him? Like why are we even corrupting them in the first place? Like, why are they even going mad in the first place? Like, it's cool. I love it. Like, it's too much, right? When they said omnipotent Lord, because from the city of Silver, okay. When I read that, I thought it was still talking about the King of Angels, Sasir. And I'm like, hold up, too many omnipotent people now. Okay. So The ASG. The ASG OG, homie. Got it. Got it. Thank you. I can't do this. I'm not going to lie, man. I can't do this without you guys. And if I'm taking notes as we're reading, it's going to take even longer to finish reading. And then, like full disclaimer, dude, I have not even started notes on volume 3. It's just because it's kind of, it's not, I'm not, like, hold up. I'm not trying to make it sound. Thank you guys. Like, for example, full disclaimer, I'm not making it sound like it's too hard taking notes. It's starting to get to like a time thing. So I know, like, that's why I haven't finished my notes on 3. Like, dude, it's so hard. Too many gods claiming to be omnipotent lords. And that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, for you guys that are always updating that on Discord, man, holy shit, man. Fucking praise the fool. God bless you guys. Bro, easy. Take notes while you read like Wiz. It will help you a lot. But here's the thing. I wouldn't even know what to take note of. There's really no reason to take notes. We will tell you things that aren't spoilers. Okay. Well, like, I know you guys want me to take notes, and you guys also don't want me to take notes. That's the thing I find hard. Like, I guess I'm so, like, nitpicky when it comes to taking notes now. Like, I wouldn't even know how to, like, organize it. I don't know. That's the thing. And then I feel like it'd just be like an amalgamation of notes. I'll go through. Let me post. I know I said it last week. So I think I'm going to just post my volume 2 notes as is right now. Because, well, at least when I tried sending it to Romero, what's it called? Discord wasn't working. But I think we're good now. Control F. Okay. Bet. So once we're done reading, I'll send it to you, Romero. I got you. I guess Discord works now, right? Okay. Okay. One day you will die. Oh wait, he said thank you, right? Client had a baffling impression of a bratish child. Where was it? He said he was leaving. Why thank me? Frankly, screeched his head, looking completely puzzled. He's probably thanking you for being able to hold back your curiosity and not using his flesh and blood as the experimental subject. You are a partner worth trusting. The corner of Klein's mouth twitched a bit in an attempt to interpret the reason. He realized that the future's first and second mate had rather strange thought processes. Afternoon town in the half-collapsed cathedral, Colin stood by the side of the something in white and softly asked, "Who are the kings? Who is the huge calamity? Who tempted Sasir?" Let me try one more time because this word keeps popping up.
The ecclesiastic.
The ecclesiastic. The ecclesiastic didn't seem to hear him as he continued prostrating to the ground. He repeated his words of pension as though he was an illusionary recording left behind by the environment. A wraith, spectator, or an evil spirit. Derek looked in the direction, feeling somewhat nervous, seeing no response from the oh my god, I literally forgot the fucking word. Eclectic?
The ecclesiastic didn't seem to
this
hear
is such
him
a
as
hard.
he
I
continued.
don't know why I'm struggling with this word for so much. The ecclesiastic didn't seem to hear him as he continued prostrating himself to the ground. A rave? Seeing no response from the ecclesiastic, Colin reached out of his right hand, inching his silver sword towards the person. However, despite the sharp blade tip reaching the back of his head, the ecclesiastic remained in penitence. Oh my! I'm sorry, I can't read that word, man. I'm sorry, I'm so out of it. As though nothing has changed, Colin retracted his silver sword as he surveyed the area with dark green symbols in his eyes. Then, by the way, thank you guys. There's 30 of you guys here. Thank you guys. And then he walked diagonally to the altar ahead as he cast his gaze onto the candle, emitting a yellow light. After a few seconds of silence, he reached out of his left hand and extinguished the entirety of the candlelight. Pause. Oh my god. I don't know what's going on today. After a few seconds of silence, he reached out his left hand and extinguished the entirety. Holy shit, dude. Not my day. The entirety of the candlelight. The collapsed deity statue in the middle of the altar suddenly turned dim as the prostrating white-robed man finally stopped his penance. He slowly lifted his head. It was a gloomy green, and his gaze was filled with hatred. Before Derek, Haim, and Joshua could react in time, the devout Excelsiatic had pounced forward with an exceedingly fast speed, drawing out an after image. Colin was already prepared for it. He took 2 steps diagonally forward with his right foot, turned his body halfway, and swept backwards with a silver sword in his left hand. On the sword, spots of the light sword instantly forming a gigantic storm. The storm that was formed purely out of light swept the surroundings, leaving the Ellesiatic frozen in midair before he was completely devoid. The storm quickly came to an end as Colin looked at the... Oh my god, Cuttlefish is so mean, man. He is putting this word way too often, man.
The storm quickly came to an end as Colin looked at the ecclesiastic.
Ecclesiastic. English is so unnecessary. I'll just call him elastic. Like elastic girl. English has some words that just don't make sense sometimes when it comes to the spelling. Like you see 2 C's and I'm like, bro, like what? Or like some words is like, oh. Look, I already forgot how to say it. Ecclesiastic whose body has been infused with the light of dawn. I really hope this word does not come up after this chapter. Otherwise, it's going to be a hard scuff stream now. Then he repeated his previous question again. Who are the kings? What is the huge calamity? Who tempted Sasir? The ecclesiastic, whose figure has already very indistinct, replied in a daisy manner. The king of Sasir, Ouroboros Medici. Just as when he was about to say the 4th name... Oh, this is why it's called 4th name. Hold on, we're going to get the 4th name. A transparent flame tore through him from the inside. I'm going to lower my volume down just a smidge. The flame instantly engulfed, burning into a spreading black gas. So the kings referred to the king of angels. What's the 4th name? Why did he self-destruct just as he was about to say it? Is this one who tempted Sasir or someone else? Derek was filled with questions. As the ecclesiastic died, the streets outside of the entirety of the afternoon town suddenly produced roars that sounded like wild beasts. Derek Ecclesiastic. Oh my god. Thank you, man. Thank you, Nosferatu. Oh, good movie, by the way. You see, why isn't it spelled like that? You see, when it's spelled like that, I can read it. But when I read 2 C's, I'm like, it just throws me off. Like, when I see 2 C's, how am I supposed to know it's Cle, right? Ecclesiastic. The moment he tried to day the name, he combusted. You understood that? No, I got that part. Like, he literally, like, just blew up. Like, before he even said it. And now I'm saying... Now I'm thinking it's kind of like, you know, like when you don't look directly at God, you die. He didn't. You can say the priest otherwise. You need the... I definitely need the reader pathway potion today. Oh my god. I apologize, guys. Today is not our day. Oh my god. Did I say I was streaming for 3 hours? Damn, man. The flame instantly engulfed him, burning him into a spreading black flame. I read that part. Derek subconsciously looked out the window and saw a gigantic face. The glass where it originally plastered to had grown a single unique eye. Okay, I see the single unique eye. What was this? Whose eye could this be? On its face was a short and dense black hair. Tap, tap, tap. Another similar monster rushed out from inside the cathedral. It had the build of an ordinary human and 2 eyes, but the surface of its body was similarly converged with short black hair that resembled a beast's. A degenerate town that has been completely corrupted. Colin sighed as he faced one of the monsters. Derek, Haim, and Joshua also took up battle positions in a bid to fend off the remaining monsters. The feature continued cruising in peace before encountering a brief night once more. After Klein entered the dream world, he found himself back in his original position by Admiral of Stars Catlea's side. He was just about to look at the projection of the giant Keeks corn. Like, we should have stayed. I wanted to see what was going to happen right there, man. He was just about to look at the projection of the giant Keeks court on the opposite side of the mountain to seek out the more possible clue when he suddenly heard Catlea ask heavily while hugging his knees, "Have you met her?" Klein acknowledged tersely without hiding the truth. Catlea pursed her lips and asked, "She's on the ship." Yes. Klein turned his head and looked. You snitch. Klein turned his head and looked at Admiral Star, saying, "You have very deep feelings for her." Ooh. Catlea's expression wasn't as lost as days as before. Biting her lips, she said in a self-deprecating manner, "That's right. I was by her side before I was 3. That's what they say. But I no longer have any actual memories of that. She taught me and she held me by my hand as we adventured. She watched me grow up. To me, she's my captain and my teacher as well as my mother." Aw. As Catlea spoke, she suddenly fell silent. Oh, that's so sad. Well, I mean, that's a wholesome moment. Like she sees her as her mom. Okay. Timestamp. 38 minutes. I swear, if Ecclesiastic comes up, bro. Oh my god, bro. I'm gonna start tweaking out on this stream. Oh my god, I really hope that word is done. That is probably the hardest word I've come across in this entire series, dude. Holy shit. Coffee is done. Definitely, that was the hardest word I've ever fucking read. Oh my god. She's basically Roselle's daughter. Easy lose. I'm fucking losing control, man. That would basically make Katlia Roselle's adopted grandchild, technically. All right, but let's keep reading. All right. I almost forgot to update up here. All right. Chapter 672 is called, what was it? Bystander. Let me close this so I can actually see our screen. Bystander. Upon glancing at the silent Katlia, Klein suddenly felt a little awkward. He didn't speak again as he turned and jumped out of the boulder. He walked into the black cloister through the half-open door. In a square surrounding by a gloomy tower of the building, there were remnant fires from a war. Gigantic arrows were embedded in the ground, while the end of the shafts softly wobbled from the wind. Frank Lee was still digging and planting something, but there wasn't food by his feet anymore, but a pool of flesh and blood. What experiments do you plan on performing on them? Klein, who walked past, couldn't help but ask. Frank smiled in excitement. Plenty. For example, all I need is one axe that can satisfy the meat requirements of an entire ship. Every time a piece of meat is sliced off, it will regrow new flesh again. Why is it oxen again? Klein was momentarily unable to provide a response. All he could do was silently draw the crimson moon inwardly. Along the way, he encountered navigators Otlov, who was reading on the ground, Nina, who was almost taking off her clothes due to her inebriation, Heath Doyle, who was hiding silently in the shadows of the corner before arriving at the hall filled with murals. At some point in time, Anderson Hood had conjured a reclining chair and was leisurely lying on it, observing the extremely religious and holy murals on the dome. Sigh, we're finally about to leave these cursed waters. It was just another 2 noons and nights seeing German Sparrow enter the strongest hunter size from the from the bottom of his heart. As long as we successfully leave this area, then I'll no longer need to worry about any remnant problems. Klein originally wished to ask him to shut up, but since he was talking about himself and no one else, he couldn't be bothered. He asked in passing, "Are you from Intis?" "Barely. My father is from Intis and my mother's from Sigir? How do I pronounce that? How do I pronounce this area again?"
My father is from Indus, and my mother is from Cigar.
Oh, like when you're smoking a cigar. Got it. From Cigar, Anderson answered with a full intention of having a chat. Klein continued taking a few steps forward. Then, do you believe in the eternal blazing sun, god of sea machinery, and god of knowledge and wisdom? Anderson's expression suddenly turned a little odd. My faith was originally in the god of knowledge and wisdom, but the priests are too despicable. Just because I failed my examinations, they ignored my ordinary handsome face and treated me as a blank. Pew. I'm just better at other topics. My intelligence is in no way lacking. My eyes are aesthetic, and my basic foundation in drawing had always been excellent. Before becoming a hunter, my dream was to be an artist. Of course, after coming to the sea, my father is more or less in the Lord of Storms. Upon hearing Anderson's description, Klein suddenly thought of a joke. A priest from the god of knowledge and wisdom might make such a statement. He failed his examination. A child is hopeless. Just bury him. He was about to lead the conversation into Anderson's life as a hunter, as he was the only person apart from Queen Mystic who could communicate with him normally in the dream world, when he suddenly heard the sound of a door creaking open. In the depths of the Hall of Murals, there was the sound of door opening. Anderson just mentioned about successfully leaving these waters. Klein felt an inexplicable urge to facepalm himself as he focused his gaze on the source of the sounds. Following that, he saw a man in short linen robes running out from the depths of the hall of murals and towards them. The man had luxuriant raven black hair, but he had wrinkles on his face as though he had suffered plenty of hardships. Saint of Darkness, Leo Master's good side. Klein recognized the man, and he immediately discovered the tall figure face in the depths of the hall mural. The figure was dressed in thick and heavy black full body armor. His eyes emitted a deep redness. He held a huge sword and chased after Leomaster. Clang, clang, clang. His metallic boots hit the ground repeatedly, repeating clear and hurried sounds. It's the real Leomaster, the main persona of the Saint of Darkness. Klein saw the two approaching figures as he instinctively turned to the side and quickly retreated. He immediately held himself to the hall's walls before realizing that Anderson Hood had leaped up from the reclining chair at some point in time, clinging close to the other side of the wall. Sensing Germansparrow's gaze, Anderson grinned, returning to a smile that meant, "So are you the same as me? Are you the same as me?" No, I just shaved it. Yeah, who's the same as you? This isn't Cartness. If you weren't around, I would have taken out the Sea God Scepter and fought the darkness. I've always been Wait, what does he mean by that? So you are the same as me? Oh, wait, no, I lied. I shaved my head because I was getting thin hair, and I was like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'll just go bald. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do that like ugly-ass comb-over people do when they hide it. It's like, that ain't going to be me. Wait, so I don't get... What does he mean? So are you the same as me? Who's the same as you? Let me reread this part. So you are the same as me. Who's the same as you? This isn't cowardness. If you weren't around, I would have taken out the Sea God Scepter from the Saint of Darkness. I've always been considered what would happen in the real world if I were to help the God Leo Master kill the main person in the dream. Yes, the crew members from the future outside. If Leo Master's main persona really goes mad, Queen Mystic will definitely take action. Oh, the same as me as in cowardness. This, and that's why he's saying this isn't cowardness. I was like, what's cowardness? Okay, because he's hiding. Got it. It shouldn't be coincidence that these two fellows left their own dreams and came here. Both parties are already very close in the real world. Perhaps some had directed the good Leo Master over Queen Mystic. Many thoughts flashed through the client's mind. Let me lower the volume down just a smidge more. Leo Master, who was dressed in short linen robes, saw the two men ahead. He had wanted to cry for help, but in his blink of an eye, he discovered that two of them had escaped the two ends of the hall, as though they didn't wish to partake in any of this. He desperately ran as he rushed out of the Hall of Mirrors. The redness in the armored Leo Master's eye darkened. He continued his pursuit, completely ignoring Klein and Anderson, who were clinging close to the mirror walls. By the time they left the hall, Klein, who had some theories in his mind, didn't hesitate to take a strike forward and rush out like a hunting leopard. Anderson raised his right hand and grabbed at the thin air, failing to stop Gurman's burn time. This guy was still rather rational a moment ago. Why didn't he suddenly go mad? He discovered something. With a strange person, Anderson looked at the square outside, hesitated for a few seconds, and firmly chose to follow. They chased all the way out the Black Cloister and then arrived in the region where Admiral Stars was. Klein saw the linen-robed Leo Master circling around the boulder to escape his evil counterpart. Then he took the opportunity to face the projection of the Giant King's court on the opposite mountain. Praying softly with ancient Hermes, the Lord that created everything, you are the omnipotent and omniscient. After making another circle, the good Leo Master continued chanting, you are the source of everything great. You are the beginning and the end. You are the God of gods. You are the ruler of the vast astral world. That does not sound good. With the honorific name spoken, the sea of the clouds that separated the two mountains suddenly stirred before slowly splitting apart and revealing a deep crevice at the bottom. From the ocean. Wait. No, from the mountain. The sea of the clouds that separated the two mountains suddenly stirred before slowly splitting apart and revealing a deep crevice at the bottom. The projection of the Giant King's court on the opposite side sucked up the frozen dust that was extremely distant. However, nothing happened after that. Klein seemed to figure out something as he turned his head to look at the buildings near the Black Cloister's door. He saw that behind a clean floor to the ceiling window, the beautiful but distant Queen Mystic Bernadette was watching everything that was happening in silence. She was indeed the one who made the good Leo Master escape from his dreams and arrive here. Since a listener from the Aurora Order was able to bring Little Jack in the Forsaken Lands of Gods, it doesn't... Wait... Since a listener from the Aurora Order was able to bring Little Jack into the Forsaken Lands of Gods, it doesn't make sense that the Saint of Darkness isn't able to do so. Like, if a listener can do this, then he should be able to do it. When there's no path ahead, and with him seeing the projection of the Giant King Court, Leo Master's split personality will definitely wish to escape into it. Hence, he demonstrated the way to enter the Forsaken Lands of the Gods to the person observing in secret. Klein retracted his gaze with great sincerity. As for why Leo Master didn't succeed, he believed that it was because he wasn't in the right location. He needs to be deep in those waters, and he needs to find a particular spot in the surroundings by danger and strangeness. Then, only by chanting the honorific names of the City of Silver Creator and the dream brought about by the night will the passing that's hidden in the projection... I'm getting... Oh, wait, hold up. I'm getting a little lost in the sauce. Following that, one can enter... Let me go back up sentence. Then only by chanting the honorific name of the City of Silver's Creator in the dream brought about by the night will the passage that's hidden in the projection of the Giant King's court be open. Following that, one can enter with the aid of a dream, bringing one's body and ship to transmigrate. So you physically transmigrate through the fog that mixes with reality and illusions, so as to reach the shores of the Forsaken Land. Why? This is so complicated. Wait. So as to reach the shores of the forsaken land of gods, Klein thought of certain possibilities. Like, how do you even come up with that? How do you come up with that, bro? Wait, you guys understand what Richie said because he's hiding? Easy, did you coward? Both cowards? Wait, that's... That is so hard to grasp. There are so many steps behind that, dude. Holy shit. It's like if you have played Final Fantasy VIII, without getting into spoilers, well, for me it's kind of overwhelming. For like the final fight in Final Fantasy VIII against the big boss has so many steps to fight that entity. Like, you gotta like go within the dream into the future, and then you gotta go back to like the present time, and then you guys gotta like link up when you guys are like stuck in this vortex, and then that way you can like pull them in, and then you can like finally fight them. It's like that sounds a little overwhelming. But that is so sick. Okay, so it's not just about like, you go through the fog and you end up in the Forsaken Lands. Like, no, there's this crazy ass method behind it, which is kind of cool because, like, why is it so complicated to get here? Like, what are we hiding? To him, the method of entering the Forsaken Land of Gods wasn't something he needed to care about. If he wished to do so, once he advanced the sequence 4 and he truly obtained a certain level of godhood, he could get Little Sun to set up a descent or bestowment ritual for him to directly descend. Okay, that sounds a lot easier to fully digest. You just set up a descent or bestowment ritual for him to directly descend. That's more of my cup of tea. That sounds a little bit easier. However, if he used this to reverse engineer the way to leave the Forsaken Land of Gods, it would be extremely useful. It was priceless for the City of Silver. Okay, then, like, Colin, Derek, and, like, everybody else can... Okay. From the looks of it, the key to leaving the Forsaken Land of Gods is really in the Giant King's court, but as to what... Like, why is it that? Because Giant King Armir was the previous king, and maybe he set up everything, but as to what it is, there's no way of guessing it as of right now. Amidst his thoughts, pea vines rapidly grew out from the soil, instantly turning the area outside the Black Cloister into a green forest. And it's also forcibly separated the Saint of Darkness main persona and the good persona. Then Klein saw that the gaps of the pea vines and the Cattleya had stood up. She no longer sitting there hugging her knees. Sizzle. Derek first did a roll before he jumped up, cleaving down on the giant legs, which was covered in short black hair. Simulated silver lightning smote down, causing the single-eyed monster to tremble as he stood root to the ground. Derek didn't miss this opportunity as he immediately opened his arms. Bright and pure holy light descended and enveloped the mutated giant. In the brilliance, the monster collapsed with a tragic cry as its body produced the black fog. You need to start changing music for Derek. I think we should, right? Well, good thing the music is... Really? Okay, so we'll change it right now. I think there's like a page left. There's like half a page. So yeah, we're going to change it now. Because now I'm feeling setups. Derek first did a roll. Wait, Sizzle? Oh, wait, hold up. No, we're with Derek already. Hold up. It's a fight. I know how to play. Yo, I got to be careful when I'm like positioned like this, man. I feel like I'm a fart if I'm not careful. Hold up. Somebody randomly mute my mic for like no apparent reason. All right, let's play some battle music. Bruh, what's up? Hey guys, I'm only human. Come on, man. It's all honesty here. It's all about honesty. I'm only human. What do you mean? Let's loop this one because we're in a fight. Yeah. I like this one. At least they had that one TikTok preview with the Seer trailer, and it was like, it sounded kind of like this. It gave me like Tekken vibes. So let's play this for a bit. Let's see how we feel. All right, let's keep rating. Now the music is not too low, right? You guys can hear it? Yes? Sizzle. Derek first did a roll before he jumped down, cleaving down on the giant's legs, which was covered in short black hair. Simulated silver lightning smote down, causing the single-eyed monster to tremble as he stood rooted to the ground. Derek didn't miss this opportunity as he immediately opened up his arms. Bright and pure holy light descended and enveloped the mutated giant. In a brilliance, barely. Well, actually, I'm going to turn it up just a smidge more. I think I'm going to keep it like right here. I don't want it too loud. Then I'm going to, yeah, I think right here. It's like a little under like half of my voice. I'm gonna try that. Derek didn't miss this opportunity. He immediately opened up his arms. Bright and pure holy light descended and enveloped the mutated giant. In the brilliance, the monster collapsed with a tragic cry as its body produced the black fog. After a series of battles, Derek discovered that the monster produced a strange afternoon town where all afraid of intense light despite their different traits. Such an experience had allowed him to avoid injuries, allowing his teammates to keep their lives. After a while, when Colin finished the strongest monster, after the town was restored to its silence, all the lit candles were already extinguished. The chief of the 6-member council surveyed the area before saying with a single sight, "Let's regroup before we set up camp." At that moment, the teams that had gathered together had already been reduced to a third. There were only 6 people. Damn, they lost a lot of people. What the fuck? Colin Iliad's true goal was actually the giant. Oh, if Colin ends up being a bad guy, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Colin, why is that his true goal? Colin Iliad's true goal was actually the Giant King's court, but their encounter in the afternoon town had made him realize that the exploration team couldn't be done in a haste. This was because the Giant King's court might hold deep secrets about the cataclysm with unimaginable danger. Okay, so he's good. Hold up. With unimaginable danger. Therefore, he needed half a year or more, perhaps even 2 years of preparation and preliminary explorations before he could attempt opening it. Okay. That's fucking cool. Damn. Wait, hold up. That fight went by so fucking quick. I thought it'd go a little bit longer. Colin is a Giga Chad. Okay, he's a Giga Chad. It's just he wants to know the secrets. So because he wants to know the secrets, he's not like evil. I thought it was like his real goal was the Giant King's court. Like for what? Like for what ultimanium? Okay. Why they nicked the Richie boy? I don't know what happened. I think it might have been a spoiler. Maybe. I know sometimes we get a little excited and we say things a little too early, but it's okay. It's okay. 52 minutes, 8 seconds. Copy paste. All right, next chapter. Update up here. Fuck, it's hot, man. He said something he shouldn't have. Okay. I think what I need to do when I do end stream in the next hour and a half, I need to go buy a fan, bro. I have a ceiling fan, and this bitch does not give me any air. And the other room, it's like the ceiling fan is so good, but for some reason my ceiling fan is so fucked up it doesn't give me enough adequate air, especially because we're in summer. So I need to go buy like another fan or something and like keep back here, so it's like hitting my back, man, because it's just crazy. Have you seen Colin Iliad art? He's the one that looks like Geralt of Rivia, right? Sorry, Hope, but right, I think it is the artwork of Colin Iliad. He looks like Geralt of Rivia. I've only ever seen one. No. Oh, maybe not. Yeah. All right, but let's keep reading. Do my timestamp. Wait, hold up. If you guys do have any more artwork on this whole part and this whole town and like all the like his evil side and his good side, if you guys have any, or like the Giant Keeks of Court artwork, if you guys have any artwork, send it to me, man. This is really cool. I do want to look at it more, and then I feel like that way we can also change up the thumbnails just a little bit, just so it doesn't always look the same. What the fuck is this one? Whoa. Wait, this one is fucked up. Holy shit. I'm sorry. What are these bodies on the tree? What the fuck? Am I reading Berserk? Holy shit. Yeah, if you guys have any artwork on everything that's been happening in this whole, like, area, like, bro, send it my way, because that shit is crazy. Alright, but let's keep reading. Everything's good. Everything's updated. If it's said to be the honorific name of the dude from the Aurora Order changed, though. Alright, well, for now, chapter 673 is called Blood Text. That does not sound good. Layers of pea vines that appeared as though they were capable of weaving into a stairway into heaven dropped and shrank back into the soul. Be it the Saint of Darkness main persona or Leah Master's good side, they vanished. Only Cat Leah stood at the top as the boulder, surveying her surroundings with a blank look. Queen Mystic threw Leo Master's main and good side back into his own dream. Queen Mystic threw Leo Master's main and good side back into his own dream. Yeah. Do you guys have any artwork on Leo Master? Send it, because I'm always scared to like look up artwork, because I don't want to see like a character dying, you know, artwork. Like I don't want to see that. Or they sheep pull them elsewhere in an attempt to understand the unique traits necessary for entering the Forsaken Land of Gods. It seems like it's impossible to pull these two personalities into different dreams, so they always have to be within the same dream, because they're technically still the same person. Otherwise, Queen Mystic would have long conversed with the good Leo Master individually, as well as agreed to help him defeat the evil in exchange for relevant information without going through so much trouble. Of course, to truly kill off the Saint of Darkness main persona, perhaps one will have to enter the dangerous ruins in the real world. Even Queen Mystic wouldn't dare to attempt it, and it might produce an evil queen who abides by do as you wish and do as much harm. Really? Is it? You gotta stop spoiling people with the vid titles, though. Yeah, I think I've been getting a little spoilery. Yeah. What? Is it bad? Like, I don't even know what to tell him. Sasir? Oh, thank you. Not. Yes, Sasir. Like Sasir, not Sasir. Got it, Sasir. Yeah, I was noticing that. I'm like putting mermaids and marionettes in the title, but I'm like, I don't even know what else to title it. And then I was like, I guess the only people that would, because I figured there aren't that many light novel or web novel reactions. So I figured like the only people looking it up are people that already know what's gonna happen. And since the videos aren't getting like crazy huge views, I don't know. It's like, well, at least as of right now, I haven't seen anybody comment like, "Oh my God, you spoiled me," right? Like I haven't seen that yet. So I guess that's why I've been flying too close to the sun, if that helps. I don't know. He wasn't saying Kareli's sister. Oh yeah, because of the new Dunkle release. I think when the new Dunk, oh, you're right. I think we are gonna have to change it now. Because of the new Dunkle release. Okay. Well, at least for the new one, I didn't put like Klein marionettist, so I don't think people know that. And there's like no way for them to know that. Okay. Y'all think they'll keep dropping trailers? I don't know, man. If there's one in like 5.5 hours, you best believe we're gonna be here. Let me find my place. Yeah. What was it? Do as much harm, right? Klein turned his head once again and thought, looking at the nearby building around the black cloister door. He said he saw that the figure belonging to Bernadette had vanished behind the clear floor to the ceiling windows. Klein did an attempt to seek out to figure out if Queen Mystic had obtained more information from Leo Master's good side. This was because he remembered Germansboro's core persona, Mr. Fool's Blessed, and Admiral Stars knew very well that in Mr. Fool's Terror Gathering, the sun came from the City of Silver and the Forsaken Lands of Gods. To say that Mr. Fool didn't know the method of entering the Forsaken Land of Gods was unbelievable. Therefore, as a blessed, Germansboro definitely lacked the motivation to delve deeper into the matter. There are many matters where the case is true that the persona which brings you success will also make you fail. This is a flaw for Faceless. Klein retracted his gaze and looked back at the projection of the giant king's court on the opposite mountain, only to realize that the frozen sunset was slowly returning to the horizon. On the same mountain, the boulder remained standing as Kaelia slowly sat down again, hugging her knees. Noon and night switched thrice, but the actual amount of time had passed in the outside world was just daytime of a single day. The future circled around of the dangerous ruins and dodged the latent dangers hidden in the safe sea routes before finally arriving near the entrance of those waters. Klein and company once again saw the ruins, which was mostly submerged in seawater from the very beginning. They saw the gray-green stone columns as well as a huge dome at the top. Previously, they could hear the loud and clear panting sounds. Bloodless had even painfully pointed out that the corpse was hiding in those ruins, and the corpse was very likely to be the source of the painting. At that moment, the ruin that hit the immense danger no longer brought fear to the person on board of the future, but joy. This is because it meant that they were about to leave the ridiculous and terrifying waters. At some point in time, yeah, that was pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. At that point in time, Nina had already climbed up to the tall crow's nest and said loudly as she looked at the ruin, there's a ship! Ship! Klein circled around Anderson's hood, who was blocking him, and approached the shipboard as he focused. Instead of the right stacked stones and stone columns, there was an ordinary 3-mast sailboat docked by it. As there was something in the way, it would be difficult for people on board to the future to notice if it weren't viewing it from a high vantage point or looking carefully. The sailboat floated there without a single sailor on board. The silence made it terrifying, as though it was all eaten by the ruin. Anderson came over and shook his head with a sigh. In these waters, one mustn't go close unless one knows the ruins well. A person who dares outline the mural of an angel of fate doesn't have the right to say that. Your treasure hunting team claims to be rich in experience, but in the end, they aren't one left from it. Klein didn't turn his head as he lampooned. At that moment, Kaelia also came to the deck as she looked at the sailboat docks by the ruins. During this entire process, she didn't give Germansboro a glance. It was as though he didn't exist. After a brief moment of silence, Kaelia raised her hand to remove the heavy glasses on her nose bridge. The deep purple hue in her eyes swirled as though she was trying to outline one complex symbol after another. Hold up. The fourth name wasn't revealed, correct? Wait, just quick. If done, it was just wait, quick recap. The fourth name of that King of Angels was not revealed, right? Fourth angel was not revealed. Because if the fourth angel wasn't revealed, I'm locking in that was Adam. I think. Because I'm under the impression that Adam would be one of the 8 kings of angels. We just don't know what his title is. And Adam, well, though it was from like 2-3 chapters ago. No, like it wasn't revealed. Yeah, the fourth because the person literally just combusted before they said it. I'm thinking it's Adam. because you don't just name drop a person and call him Adam, and then you don't elaborate anything, right? Like, you don't give any info. All right, the fact that like a guy literally blew up just before they said the name, it leads me to believe that it might be Adam, just because of how strong he probably will be. And I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. That is what I'm thinking. It might have been Adam's name, like Adam, Angel of something. But you do know 4. Amon, yeah, we know Amon. We just don't know what his title. Yeah, we know 4. Amon, Medici, Caesarea, and Ouroboros. That was not counting right. Yeah, it's just we don't know what's Adam's title. That's the only thing. So I assume that it would have been like Adam, Kings of like whatever. Okay, but we don't know. Like, we literally know nothing on Adam except that he was like one of the 2 sons with Amon and Adam, right? At this moment, Catalina also came to the deck as she looked at the sailboat docked by the ruin. During this entire process, she didn't give Germitsper a glance. It was as though he didn't exist. After a brief moment of silence, Klein raised her hand to remove the heavy glasses on her nose bridge. The deep purple hue in her eyes swirled as though she was trying to outline one complex symbol after another. A pair of eyes suddenly appeared above the empty sailboat. There were a pair of illusory, translucent, dark purple eyes. The pair of eyes slowly moved and circled the deck once before entering the cabin. This beyond her power is very useful. Speaking of which, based on the means demonstrated by Queen Mystic and Admiral Stars, the Beyonders powers of the Queen Mystery Prior has some of the highlights of fairy tales. Man, will Queen Mystic be able to turn people into frogs? Yeah, we do know he is blonde. And remember, I was like, oh, it's probably Derek and he just doesn't know it yet. That was pretty funny when I thought about that. Also, is the mystery prying of a mystery prior... Wait. Also, is the mystery prying of a mystery prior... That's... Is the mystery prying of the mystery prior demonstrated here on their eyes? Admiral Star's eyes are somewhat odd. I have to take note. Klein silently made a guess as he awaited the outcome of Catlea's remote exploration. After a while, the dark purple hue in Catlea's eyes finally dimmed. She rubbed her brows, wore her glasses again, and said to Anderson Hood and frankly, "There's a problem inside." As she spoke, she took out a handful of colors powders from her classic warlock robe, and she didn't suddenly threw them outwards. You know Amon title. Wait, no, wait. I know, yes. We know all their titles. We have Angel of Time, Angel of Fate, and then Angel of Darkness. But we don't know Adam's title. Yeah, that's the one I don't know. No, yeah, my bad. I do know that. Sorry if I made it sound like I didn't know his title. My bad. The powder didn't scatter onto the ground and instead formed a realistic color picture. The picture's background appeared like a captain's cabin. There was a picture on the desk and a portrait on the wall, both depicting the same person. He was a man from Facek with broad shoulders, like blonde hair and deep blue eyes. This, Klein first found it familiar before he recalled where he was seen by the man before. Back when he was in Nas, the adventurer had been pursued by the second mate of the King of Immortality, Kirchis, and ran into the Leidel bar to seek help from the members of the Adventurer Association. At that instant, among them powerhouses who stood up to provide protection was a muscular man from Facek who was more than 2 meters tall. Klein had found him rather strong and found him at a sequence 6 at the very least. Why would his ship suddenly enter these waters, and why would he rashly explore a dangerous ruin? Amidst Klein's puzzlement, he carefully observed the supernatural picture on the deck. This time he saw a pool of blood on the floor, and besides the blood were a few words in Facek. The fountain of unaging. I don't remember that. A few words in Facek. The fountain of unaging. The last character had drawn out marks of blood before it connected to the clear smudges that extended towards the door. Good morning, guys. Klein's mind seemed capable of restoring the actual sense. The Sequence 6 Facek man had suffered a sudden attack and fell to the ground heavily injured. He tried his best to write down the source of his encounter, but just as he finished the first few words, he was held by the legs on head of some unknown entity, and he was forcibly pulled away. What? He was held by the legs or head by some unknown entity, and he was forcibly pulled away. Considering how the red words weren't wiped away, Klein suspected that the entity that dragged the adventurer away wasn't a living person. It should be the corpse of that ruin, he thought, feeling a headache. I'm getting a headache. What the fuck? That's so weird. The Fountain of Unaging. They came here and searched for the Fountain of Unaging. The Anderson Hood said in excitement. It's like the Fountain of Youth, right? Fountain of Youth, Fountain of Unaging. Feel like it's kind of the same thing, right? Good morning, guys. Hello. Clearly, but that didn't find it. Frankly, shook his head in great disappointment. He also shook He also looked forward to the fountain unaging, believing that these fountain waters could create qualitative changes to his various excitements. The fountain of unaging slaughtered Kirches was the one chasing after the young adventurer back then. He's the one second mate of the King of Immortality. Rumor has it the King of Immortality has once drank the waters of the fountain of unaging. Kirches even warned me to German Spirit to not interfere with the young adventurer's matters, claiming that it was the will of the King of Immortality. Klein barely reproduced the truth based on his various tidbits of information. The young adventurer obtained the secret of the Fountain of Unaging from one of the Kings of Immortality aides, and he was thus pursued. Later, with the protection of some of the stronger members of the Adventurer Association, he barely escaped from slaughter Kirches, later to hide from the King of Immortality and also seek out the Fountain of Unaging. They finally chose to adventure into these waters. Who knew that they ended up being wiped out of the ruin? Could it be that the Fountain of Aging is hitting a deep in that ruin? Klein looked at the stacked gray stones and stone columns as he vaguely made preparations. As he temporarily had no way to verify his theory, nor did he know whose corpse was buried there, he didn't have an urge to explore or take risks. He rationally retracted his gaze. I will ask Will Ossipton or Rhodes. Hint, perhaps the Fountain of Aging is the pus produced from the rotting corpse? Ew. Klein guessed with most nefarious of thoughts. At this moment, Catlia, who heard Anderson and Frank's conversation, thought and said, if their death was caused by their search for the Fountain of Aging, I do not believe that the owner of the portrait and picture would have the motivation to leave behind accurate information before his death. After all, people who actually find him here would be his family. Makes sense. If I were in his shoes and if I encountered a monster in my treasure-seeking adventure, I wouldn't think of providing any hints to others before my death. Klein instinctively shook his head, failing to think of any reason for the time being. Catlia looked at Anderson and Frank Lee, who wore looks of anticipation. A successful adventure is a result of having detailed intel of sufficient preparations, but we lack all of that now. Her voice suddenly turned loud as it resounded in every corner of that ship. Continue sailing, leave these waters. Aye, aye. Captain Nina, who was on the crow's nest, gulped a mouthful of beer. A few minutes later, the scent and ascent that violated the common sense happened once again, but that prepared members of the future were no longer in a sorry state like before. They easily overcame the stimulating scene of jumping over the ravine and began their flying. Soon the future landed over the blue seas, and a distance away was a gigantic storm bloating out the sky. Not far away, there was another ship floating there silently. It was 200 meters long. In front of it, oh shit, Nast is here. It was 200 meters. There's only one ship that's 200 meters long. And in front of the back curved up, making it look like a crescent. Upon seeing the flag depicted by the black tombstone, Klein mind flashed with the corresponding name, the Deaf Announcer. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's not Nast. The Deaf Announcer. It was a flagship of the King of Mortality, Agalito. At this moment, fucking dude, we're running into everybody now, dude. At that moment, Klein no longer felt fear and horror, but excitement and agitation. With Queen Mystic on board and with no need to hide this time, she, together with me, Admiral Stars, Anderson Hood, and the crew of the future, will have the chance of wiping out the crew of the King of Immortality. Oh, that's why he's excited. Food for creeping hunger has been found. Yo, what the fuck? Food for... Dude, let the hunt begin. Food for creeping hunger has been found. I found the candidate for the marionette. Oh my god. Wait. Are you fucking telling me he's gonna make an Admiral a marionette? There's no fucking shot. What was his name? King of Immortality what? Let me go up a page. King of Immortality Agalito. No shot we're gonna make him a fucking marionette. With Queen Mystic on board and with no need to hide this time, she, together with me, Admiral Stars, Anderson Hood, and the crew of the future, will have the chance of wiping out the crew of the King of Immortality. Food for creeping hunger has been found. I found a candidate for marionette. That is so exciting, dude. At this moment, the Deaf Announcer suddenly turned... Oh, wait, is it leaving? The Deaf Announcer suddenly turned around, moving away, and... Oh, it's leaving at an unprecedented speed. It fled! Klein, charge! It fled. Klein instantly wore a blank look. Soon the Deaf Announcer... Oh! Fucking bullshit, dude! Ah! Actual... I'm sorry, is Ellie here? Oh, I thought she was here. Fucking bullshit, dude! Soon the Deaf Announcer had vanished from his line of sight. Oh, I said, yeah, my bad. I said Admiral, my bad. I meant the King of Immortality. Ah, that's... Come on, dude. Damn. That would have been crazy. Imagine having, like, one of the four kings as a marionette. That would have been crazy, dude. Shit. It was too good to be true, brothers and sisters. It was too good to be true. Damn. Fuck. That would have been so sick. Actually, would have been fucking badass if he was able to pull that off. Klein was so excited, like, with all of us here, Anderson, me, and Kat Leah, we fucking got this. Everybody like, oh, we're gonna take him down. And then they just fucking leave. I wonder if he was scared or he just, I don't know. I wonder why he just showed up and left. All right, let's keep reading. What's he doing now? King of Immortality because he's always running from his fights. Was he the one that was always running away? Was it? He was the one that had that description, right? Like he's also lived the longest because he's always like, he's always been cautious or has always fled his battles. All right, well, let's keep reading. 744. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 6 chapters for now. All right. Next chapter. Next chapter. Chapter 674. Leaving the ship. That was way too fast. I just had the thought. Klein I think he left before him. I just had that thought. Klein looked at the undulating surface of the sea, temporarily unable to gather his thoughts. Amidst his thoughts, he came up with a theory. King of Immortality, Agalito's second mate, Slaughterer Kirchis, is suspected to be a devil, or even a devil apostle. Oh, if he was a Desire Apostle, then he'd be able to detect German Sparrow and Creeping Hunger's bloodlust, right? He possesses the beyond powers to detect danger ahead of time and the ability to, which is crazy. If they ran away from him, that means Klein would have won. He possesses the beyond powers to detect danger ahead of time and the ability to lock onto the source of danger. That's why they're always running away. That's why they're always running away. Then would the King of Immortality be a sequence 4 demigod of the devil pathway to begin with? That's why once the crew of the future possessed the actual strength to deal harm to him with an actual plan in mind, he immediately sensed a problem and discovered the existence of Queen Mystic, so he didn't hesitate to retreat. Yes, this means Queen Mystic also has the intention of taking action, otherwise my thoughts would have only made King of Immortality sneer and retaliate crazily. Sai, this beyond the power of the devil pathway is just too useful. Trying to ensnare the King of Immortality or his first mate, second mate, or third... his first, second, or third is quite impossible. Klein thought regretfully as he looked at Anderson Hood. The strongest... I'm sorry, what? As he looked at Anderson Hood, please don't make him a marionette. I like him. The strongest hunter still showed a clear, warped expression as though reeling in despair that his bad luck hadn't decreased. He has also suppressed the deaf announcer would flee with its tails between its legs as though it wasn't going according to his script in his mind. He darted his eyes as he looked around with a guess, seemingly coming to a conclusion. Unfortunately, Anderson's bad luck isn't strong enough. Otherwise, he can be sacrificed in order to be bait of the King of Immortality. This isn't the correct usage of a provoker. Klein turned into a corner and returned to his room. Just as he pushed open the wooden door, he saw a familiar back standing before his window. She had a very proportionate figure and was dressed slightly oddly. She was none other than Queen Mystic Bernadette. Ma'am, did your father not teach you? You shouldn't enter someone's room without... You shouldn't enter someone's room without permission, especially the room of a male stranger. As a lady who was brought up in a noble family, you shouldn't have been waiting by the door and earnestly requesting permission to enter. Emperor, didn't you recall the books on education? Klein silently lampooned as he closed the door in passing. Without waiting for him to say a word, Bernadette said to him as her back facing, the matters from before have verified a theory of mine? What theory? Klein repressed his curiosity as he asked with a deadpan expression. That does make sense. Her dad was Rizzo. Agalito's fountain of unaging is a scam. If there really is a fountain of unaging, it would have been one of the main ingredients of a demoness of unaging. Wait, that makes sense. Or it would have been something that would have been produced from their corpses. Therefore, any man who claims to have drunk from the fountain of unaging is lying, because they would have been a female. She didn't explain what a demoness of unaging was, seemingly certain that Germansborough knew what it was, and even if he didn't know, he would have the means to figure it out later. Fountain of aging, demoness of unaging, it does match. So the bloody text on the sailboat besides the ruin is to tell the world that the fountain of unaging is a scam. King of Immortality, Agalito has released news of the Fountain of Unaging again and again in order to lure adventurers and pirates to enter dangerous waters and die, or to take the opportunity to slaughter them. It has strong vibes of a devil. It's no wonder Slaughterer Kirchis warned me not to interfere. Klein thought for a few seconds and deliberately said in a ruminative tone, scam. Queen Mystic Bernadette nodded and said with a gentle tone, "This might be part of the ritual that Agalito needs for his advancement to Sequence 4. It might also be an action needed to digest the Sequence 4 potion." Oh, good evening. She paused as though making a silent sigh. Then she said, "That's because Sequence 4 of his pathway is Demon." Demon sounds... We know that. Sequence... I thought Demon was Sequence 6. No? Is it 4? Damn, I gotta memorize these pathways. I'm mixing up. No, we didn't? Really? 6 is Devil? We knew Devil. Devil is Sequence 6. Oh! I'm confusing Devil with Demon. Oh! What the fuck? In my mind, I'm thinking it's the same thing. A Devil and a Demon. Wait. You're acting as a devil, but like a demon, like you are a demon. Okay, that sounds more sinister. Okay, being a demon. Okay, got it. Okay, I mixed up Sequence 6 Devil and Sequence 4 with Sequence 4 Demon. Got it. Sorry. My brain shut down for a second. Demon sounds insightful, creating a treasure scam to harm others. Oh, so a demon did that so he can digest his potion. Demon sounds delightful, creating a treasure scam to harm others that does match the style of a demon. Clan was instantly enlightened, and he's enlightened from that. At this moment, Queen Mystic turned around and she cast her gaze through her checkered black veil and towards Gurman Sparrow's eyes. "It's my turn to provide information." Klein deliberated for 2 seconds. According to the analysis of limited diary entries, Emperor Rizal suffered from an extreme predicament in his later years. This forced him to come up with the idea of attempting something crazy. In this aspect, he was extremely frank. This was because the diary entries he had received up to this date didn't reveal what Emperor Rizal wished to do in his later years, what predicament he was in, or what crazy actions he did. Therefore, he provided this piece of information. He was hinting to Bernadette that to know the truth, she had to hand over the diary entries and Emperor Rizal's critical period to Admiral Stars Catlia. Bernadette remained silent for a few seconds as the dark clouds moved through the skies, allowing the sunlight to shine from the outside. The queen that reigned over the 5 seas suddenly dissociated like bubbles, snapping and disappearing. Devil is sinister and deceitful type. Demon is chaotic evil. Oh, like the Desire Apostle, right? He was being chaotic, but a devil is being sinister, decisive. Okay, like he's acting like a little like you're acting like a little gremlin, right? Like you're kind of like a jester, like you're fooling them. Devil is sinister and deceitful type. Got it. In this aspect, he was extremely frank. It was because the diary entries he had received up to this date didn't reveal what Emperor Rizal wished to do in his later years, what predicament he is in, or what crazy action he did. Therefore, by providing this piece of information, he was hinting to Bernadette that to know the truth, she had to hand over the diary entries Emperor Rizal's critical period to Admiral Stars Catlia. Bernadette remained silent for a few seconds as the dark clouds moved through the sky, allowing the sunlight to shine from the outside. The queen that reigned over the 5 seas suddenly disassociated like bubbles shattering and disappearing. That's cool. She just disassociated like bubbles shattering and disappearing. The light refracted from the bubbles had produced different colors, filling the room with fairy tale-like dreamscape. That is such a cool as ability. If not for the hidden sage, the mystery power pathway is really interesting. Fuck him, man. Fuck the hidden sage. Klein reflected as he tapped his left thumb on the first segment of his index finger twice. He activated his spirit vision of spirit body threads, but he didn't discover any additional blank threads. This meant that Bernadette had already left. Klein silently sighed and quickly deactivated his vision. Just as he was about to lie in bed to take a rest, he heard a brisk footsteps approach. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked at his door. Who is it? Klein sat up. It's me. Catlia's voice sounded. Klein went above, feeling puzzled as he opened the door. He didn't ask what it was about as he coldly looked at her. His gaze expressed everything. Catlia nudged the heavy glasses on her nose bridge and said, "Coming out from those waters didn't bring us back to where we entered. We are less than 100 nocturnal miles away from the Toscarter Island. It will take about 3 days to Nas. When do you wish to return?" The entrance and exit are different. Klein was surprised as he spoke in confirmation manner. "Then it is possible to enter those waters from this place. No, we would directly fall to the bottomless ravine of the ocean. According to the results of the divination, the people who do so are dead in the future sense of the word." Catlia explained simply. "Is that so?" Klein thought before saying, "To Toscarter Island, the reason why he didn't choose Nas was because they were close to the next Tarot gathering. He didn't wish to do something that took plenty of time of the future. Furthermore, Toscarter Island was the easternmost colony of the Lone Kingdom. The currency used with pence solely and gold pounds. Klein no longer needed to consider the problem of foreign exchange. Alright, Katlia had no views on this. Watching her turn and walk to the captain's cabin, Klein shook his head slightly and slightly inwardly. If you have come earlier, you will meet Queen Mystic. In the evening, the future arrived at the port of the Tosculture Island as a forcibly docked there. Klein dressed up as a gentleman, carried his leather suitcase, and came to the deck. He then handed over the final payments placed in his 2 pockets to the Admiral Stars Katlia. After subtracting the pugilist beyond her characteristic worth 700 pounds, it was a total of 1,300 pounds. As such, Klein's wealth was reduced to 8,436 pounds. That's still a lot. That's still a lot of money. And 5 gold coins. He's been holding on to these 5 gold coins since like volume 1, right? These 5 gold coins have been with him since like way in the beginning, and I feel like these 5 gold coins are going to come into play in the future where like he can't buy like a specific item with pounds, like, and it has to be like through like the 5 gold coins. Katlia received it in silence and opened her mouth as though she wanted to say something, but she ultimately didn't say a word. Are you getting off here, or are you going somewhere else? She turned to look at Anderson Hood, realizing that German Sparrow was about to leave and that he was on a pirate ship with hunting several pirates in the past. Anderson immediately smiled. I'll get off here. You can now make a payment. Katlia didn't spare him just because Anderson had borrowed clothes from the pirates. Alright, Anderson didn't hide his heart-aching expression as he reached out and pulled out an ordinary button in the middle of his shirt. Reluctantly, he handed it over. This is what I acquired from those waters. It's from the corpse that originated from an explorer of the Loan military. Yeah, the gold coins are from volume 2. God, you see, that's gonna come into play. Wait, you guys unsent like 2 messages. I don't know if you guys were hinting at something. I feel like there's gonna come to a point, like just like how his messenger like takes his currency. Like there's gonna come a point where like he can only require something through the gold coins, and like the pound solely notes will have no monetary value, and like someone that resides in the spirit world is like, no, I only accept the gold coins. And kind of like, holy shit, I fucking had 5 gold coins since volume 2, bro. Here you go. And he's like, ah, perfect. Here's your sequence 0 ingredient or something like that. Some crazy shit like that's probably gonna happen. I lost my place. This wouldn't be a stream if I didn't lose my place. I'm not sure of its original name, and I can only call it for the corresponding sequence 6 due to the powers it exhibits. Judge. Sequence 6 judge? Lawyer? Is that, I'm sorry, is that after detective? After detective, your lawyer? I'm sorry, what is this part from? I can only recall it by the corresponding sequence 6 due to the powers it exhibits. What do you mean sequence 0 equals 5 gold coins? Okay, maybe, like, okay, maybe not exactly, because he was able to get the fucking 5 gold coins so early on. Maybe not that. But, like, it's going to be very convenient and coincidental that he's had these 5 gold coins for so long. That's what I'm thinking. But for what? I don't know. For what? I don't know. It makes... Yes, judge. Its negative effects aren't especially strong. It makes its error easily offered people or... easily offend people or monsters. As a judge, perhaps one might end up being targeted by a demigod. That could be a good way to learn in characteristics. This isn't something you can call not especially strong. If I were Admiral Stars, I would have chosen the sword of yours. Klein lampooned as he watched Katlia receive Anderson's payment from the boat ride. He didn't bother with their affairs as he lifted his suitcase and left the future. Arriving at the pier of Tosculture Island, bang. Anderson Hood leaped off the deck and landed beside him. Let's go get some drinks! Oh, look at that! New best friends! The new duo. To celebrate our departure from those cursed waters, the hunter invited him with excitement in a relaxed manner. Klein swept his glance at him, refusing his offer with his eyes. All he wanted was to put a distance between him and this fellow who had bad luck. Oh, there's gonna be bad luck when they're drinking, huh? Who had bad luck and a provocative halo. Alright, Anderson looked to his side, clearly his throat, and said, can you lend me money? As you know, everything I had has sunken into those waters. Having said that, he left. Don't worry, I'll return what I owed you tomorrow morning. There are plenty of pirates in Tosculture bars and brothels. I plan on getting them to sponsor me a little. Exhort those without bounties while chasing on those with bounties. Klein tisked inwardly and handed him a 5 solely note. That little, Anderson said with a mouthful gape, like, fuck? Like, you're gonna give me that little? Detective is from the rear of the pathway. No? Okay, I was trying to see, like, what judge is a part of. I was trying to see, like, what fits. It's enough for your drinks, meal, and hotel. Klein calmly replied, besides, this is a £1 in cash. £1? Anderson rubbed his eyes and said with a helpless smile, all right, it's £1. I'll return £1 to you tomorrow morning. I don't think he's going to be able to get £1. Knowing his bad luck? I think we're gonna read one more chapter. And we're gonna do a little over 2 hours, and then hopefully we come back later after I get all my errands. And that way I can schedule stream for early in the morning, and then we can keep reading. Honestly, forgot how much Anderson appeared. I like him. I like his appearance so far. I low-key miss the knits, but I do like Anderson. Now let me copy and paste. Hold up, let me get my water. My water's right here in the back. Copy. Paste. There were obvious sequence 9 that fits. There are obvious sequence 9s that fit. I have to go through them all again. Okay. There's a very obvious sequence 9. Oh, shit, I went really far back. There's a very obvious one that fits. Maybe on the Arbiter? Because Arbiter Sheriff. Sequence. Arbiter Sheriff. And then it's Interrogator. What was after? I feel like it leads into Judge. 9, 8, 7, 6. I think that. What are we guessing? No, was it revealed what Judge is part of? No, I guess that's the only thing. I didn't know if it was revealed what Judge is part of. That's the thing I was trying to think. Think of similar pathway to that? Shit. Just a sequence 9? Fuck, I don't know. Planter. Well, here, let's read one more and then we'll think about that. No? Okay. Well, let's do one more in the meantime. Not revealed? It's not revealed what it's part of. Okay. I feel like it fits that. Honestly, the one advice I have after reading all of book 1 and most of book 2 is to create your own blasphemy slate. Just create your own and then you can memorize your own stuff. Yeah, we're guessing what it could probably be part of. I know, what's it called? Milosh said, oh, you should create your own when you're done. I think he's like, that'd be fun. But chapter 667 is called Building Ties. Afraid that German Sparrow would go back on his word, Anderson grabbed the 5 solely note as scenes of ordinary beef sizzling over flames and alcohol beverage without any additional sedatives surfaced in his mind. Well, this fellow actually accepted it. I was just saying that in passing in order to accentuate my persona, as well as to let him understand that this isn't easy to borrow money from me so as to prevent him from hunting pirates and returning to the Fog Sea and borrowing a huge sum of money. Klein mumbled inwardly. To him, a sequence 5 hunter wouldn't starve or have nowhere to spend or nowhere to stay when placed in a place with plenty of pirates, even if he didn't have a single penny. He instinctively shook his head and was about to leave the dock when he suddenly heard a boorish shout. German! Is it the Nitz? Upon hearing it's Frankly's voice, Klein shuddered as he turned around, his nerves taut. The first minute of the future, the poison extra with a 7,000-pound bounty stood by the shipboard and held his hands in his mouth. He held his mouth in his mouth as though broadcasting his voice. He asked, "Where will you be most of the time? Where should I write letters to? I wish to share with you the latest results of my research." Oh, hell no. I don't wish to know. I don't wish to know. This fellow probably doesn't have many friends. Oh, that's sad. And I dare say that many people he thinks of as friends don't treat him as one. That's, oh, come on. Exchange. Come on, man. Give him your messenger thing. Yes, Admiral Stars is still inclined towards Queen Mystic as she lacks the belongings for the Terror Club to openly develop a snitch at her side. No, a source of intelligence. It helps in my shock and awe tactics towards her, and it's a kind of German Sparrow level punishment imposed on her. With this as a bedrock, it would be reasonable and natural for Mr. Fool to punish her. Klein's thoughts raced as he took out a notebook and fountain pen for use of divinations from his pocket. He scribbled down the summoning ritual needed to summon his messenger. There you go. And he didn't forget to include the additional requirement of a gold coin. With a whoosh, Klein, dude, he's going to be stacking all these gold coins and it's going to come in clutch. With a whoosh, Klein flicked his wrist, sending the note flying at Frank Lee like a dart, landing accurately in his hand. Excellent. Frank Lee glanced at the information of the piece of paper and waved his hand in light. Klein didn't delay any further as he picked up his leather suitcase, left the dock, and began searching for a hotel. During this process, he was originally very adamant on objecting to Anderson's request to stay in the same hotel, but on second thought, he agreed to it. He was afraid that this fellow who was plagued with bad luck would get into trouble again, bringing about a disaster to innocent guests and attendant. Therefore, he decided to monitor him up close and decisively handle the problem if required. After checking in, Anderson went into his room with his key. Bang, he sat down in a reclining chair as though a heavy burden was released. After leaving those dangerous waters, he finally felt like he was a human again. He didn't need to worry about suddenly dying. After he laid there silently for a while, Anderson Hood slowly got up. He took out a flask that had an outer lining made of iron, flipped over a glass cup, and poured himself some hot water. He believed that he should recollect himself and begin visiting the bar. After drinking some alcohol and filling his stomach, he could seek out some sponsors. After the hot water cooled a little, Anderson raised his cup and gulped it down comfortably. Suddenly, he coughed intensely as his face turned a little purple. It's Frank Lee's milk, man. Oh, shit. Cough, cough, cough. Anderson reached for his throat, but he didn't seem capable of taking a single breath. I'm sorry. Is he gonna die? He better not fucking die. With a crashing sound, no shot that kills him. With a crashing sound, the glass cup fell to the floor from his hands, shattering across the ground. Cough. Cough, cough. Anderson's coughing weakened as his face turned purple. At that moment, his eyes seemed to produce a spark as the veins on the back of his hand squirmed like they were alive. Bang. Anderson fell to the ground, convulsing a little before becoming motionless. His breathing even seemed to come to a halt. Seconds later, the corpse-like Anderson suddenly got up as he rubbed his face in fear. What the fuck is this luck, dude? Damn it, I almost choked to death from fucking drinking water. If that really happened, then I might have been the hunter who was the most laughable cause of death. Thankfully, I bought this item at a great cost before entering those waters. It finally came in handy today. As he spoke, Anderson took out a doll. Dude, now he has to be careful when he eats. As he spoke, Anderson took out a doll formed of straw from a secret pocket in his vest. Ink was used to simply draw 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. The doll's surface head had already been corroded as pitch black liquid dripped down, drop after drop. In about 8 seconds, it completely reduced to liquid, turning into a stain on the floor. My bad luck hasn't decreased at all, and it has even gotten worse. Man, German Sparrow once told me of a prophecy saying that the most lethal danger often lies in day-to-day life. Anderson paced about as he carefully avoided the glass fragments at his feet, afraid that it would cause him another death. Literally, he is literally living the final destination life. No, I need to save myself. I need to save myself. Anderson pulled open the door and carefully walked out. He's like checking both sides. He came straight to Klein's room, reached out his finger, and rapped on the door. Soon the wooden door, which was neither too solid or hard, opened without a sound. German Sparrow, slowly, only taking off his coat, appeared before Anderson. Anderson forced a smile and said, "Surprise!" Bang! The door closed right in front of him. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here." It was first done before he muttered to himself with a stiff expression, "I should change the way I talk." Thump, thump, thump. He knocked on Klein's door again. The door quickly opened as a revolver was pointed at him. I would just wanted to ask if you know any Beyonders who can improve my luck. Anderson, sounds like Will can help. Will Ossipton can probably help with this. Living life he's literally playing on hard mode. Anderson raised his hand midway wildly, hinting for German Sparrow to provide him with the details of the powerhouse that informed him of the prophecy. Too late. I have no idea where Queen Mystic is. She didn't leave me a way to contact her, but since my messenger summoning ritual is known to Frank Lee, it almost means Admiral Stars knows of it. And that means Bernadette also knows of it. Also, after returning to Backland, I can seek out Miss Sharon's help. We're gonna get back with there you go. We're gonna link up with Miss Sharon again. Miss Sharon's help. Queen Mystic is in her circles, even though the frequency of her appearance. Oh shit. Sharon is in her circle. Queen Mystic is in her circles, even though the frequency of her appearance isn't high. Klein gave Anderson Hood a look of pity. That's true. She was the one kind of like trying to search for him. He wasn't fond of this strongest hunter, often mocking him inwardly and expressing all kinds of nefarious thoughts towards him. After all, Anderson was partly responsible for him losing his cufflinks. However, it was only limited to his thoughts. He had no intentions of actually putting it into practice. If Anderson truly sought his help, he similarly wouldn't reject him. Klein thought for a moment before saying, "I can help you ask, and I'll give you the answer tomorrow morning, but I suspect you don't have the means to pay. I'll go make my rounds at the bar later. Furthermore, I have plenty of stashes in the Fox Sea." Anderson replied without hesitation. Dude, he's gonna get lost in the Fox Sea if he literally goes out. Anderson replied without hesitation. Klein nodded as he closed the door. He said, "Meet you tomorrow morning. I hope you can survive until creek." The door was locked once again. Is that a curse, or was he wishing me luck? Anderson whispered with a wry smile. "According to my experience, there probably wouldn't be any accidents in the next 2 to 3 days." Inside the room, Klein returned to his logic. On it was a letter that has already had the introduction written, as well as an unfolded paper crane. In regards to Anderson's problem, Klein had already thought of a target to ask before he even agreed. Will. There was no doubt to resolve the means of a snake of fate. Questioning another snake of fate was the best solution. The only way is if we talk to another one. He pondered over the space that was available after unfolding the paper crane and the questions he would like to ask before writing a draft in his mind. Finally, he raised his pencil and wrote, How should the bad luck curse from Angel of Fate mural be removed? What's the name of a sequence 4 potion from the Seer Pathway? Where can the formula and main ingredients be obtained? Putting down the pencil, Klein carefully scrutinized the questions before carefully folding the paper crane according to the folds and placing it in his wallet. After doing all this, he continued writing to Zik. In the letter, Klein first mentioned that he received help from Admiral Stars in entering the dangerous easternmost front of the Sonia Sea. Successfully completing the ritual and changing gears, he mentioned his encounter with Admiral Ludwell's inexplicable attack mid-journey, one of the best fights, and how he nearly suffered terrible losses. Nah, he had it. While on this topic, he began describing the ring on Admiral Hell's hand, which was suspected to be a relic from the ancient death. He asked very subtly if Mr. Zik had any recollection of it, or if he needed to obtain it to study so as to invoke more memories. I feel like that will help him, like, remember most of his memories. After mentioning this, Klein mentioned in a casual manner about the artificial death project by the numinous episcopate, as well as asking the Big Shock if he was feasible, or if there were any records that recorded the actual details. Finally, he mentioned how he didn't know the subsequent sequences of his pathway and he didn't know how to obtain these opportunities. Klein began providing a description of the summary of things to take note of traveling through those dangerous waters. This was to provide Mr. Azik information so as to prevent him from suddenly wishing to seek out the remnant aura of ancient death without realizing the lurking dangers. Rumor has it that those waters are filled with the ravings of the true creator. The higher the sequence, the clearer the one will hear it. Makes it easier to be influenced and results in madness or a loss of control. This is a demarcated... Wait, what? This is what is this word?
This is demarcated by
sequence 4, but a small number of demigods have found the means to act freely there, Klein wrote at the end of his letter. After folding the paper crane, he picked up a Zig's copper whistle and summoned the huge skeleton messenger. The messenger burrowed out from the ground and politely looked at Klein from a level height before opening his palm. Not bad. Klein praised silently and handed the letter over. Then he brushed his teeth and took a bath before comfortably getting into bed. After an unknown period of time, he found himself awake in his dream, and he saw the desolate plains and pitch-black steeple. Familiarity walked into the depths of the steeple. Klein discovered Will Ossipton's reply among the scattered tarot cards. Friendly reminder, the paper crane is about to tear. And then you can't talk with him anymore. The battle curse brought about by murals can be resolved by Ricciardo. We've had encounters with him, right? Ricciardo. High sequence formulas from the Seer Pathway can be obtained from the crazy Zara tool or the... Oh, shit, dude. I'm sorry. Are we finally going to the Hornicus Mountain Range in Volume 4? Or at the end of Volume 3? I'm sorry, what? High sequence formulas from the Seer Pathway can only be obtained from the crazy Zara tool or the Hornicus Mountain Range. If you are the blessed of the Evernight, treat it as though I didn't say it. Sequence 4 of the Seer Pathway. Bizarro? What? Where is that? Sorcerer? Bizarro Sorcerer. What the fuck? Bizarro?
Sequence 4 of the Seer Pathway is Bizarro Sorcerer.
Bizarro Sorcerer. What does that even mean? I'm sorry. What does Bizarro mean? Like bizarre? Bizarro. Bizarre? A whacked out frontman from a Bizarro fring rock and roll band. Similar to strange, peculiar, odd or funny, curious, offbeat, outlandish, eccentric, unconventional, unorthodox, abnormally typical, out of the way. It's just strange. This name has other translations. Bizarro from bizarre, which is French for strange. Bizarro is the opposite for Superman. That's my favorite Seer sequence. Really? Bizarro. So you're a strange sorcerer? I don't know Chinese, but I believe Eldritch would also work. Oh, like Eldritch Blast in D&D. Remember that his next potion is 4, so he can change pathways if he wants. Yeah, so now that we're getting into high sequence territories, he can deduce if he wants to go the Bizarro Sorcerer route, or if he's going to like find other compatible pathways. But he's only gonna find out, like, the only way for him to come to this decision is we get to Hornicus mountain range, we find out what it takes to reach a like demigod status, and then once we get there, then we look into other possible. Long story short, I think he's gonna stick to Seer. I genuinely believe he's gonna stick with Seer like until the very end. I feel like that's the best thing to do, right? Like if Roselle said like I regret not going those, or maybe he goes one of the other two that Roselle mentioned. I forgot the other two that he mentioned. I think he mentioned. Did he mention Apprentice and Mystery Prior? I forgot the other two. He said I should have chosen Seer and these other two. I forgot where the other two. But maybe those are interchangeable. Maybe. Right? Maybe? Right. Oh, shit. I didn't even do my timestamp for all the thoughts. I'm going to just minus a minute. 1 hour. Hold up. 33. 34. I feel like a minute's fine. Apprentice, Marauder, and Seer. Okay. So those were the ones. So the 3 Roselle mentioned was Apprentice, Marauder, and Seer. Okay. So Seer has to be interchangeable with either one or both of those. I know it's not confirmed, but the fact that Roselle is saying those, I feel like he's hinting at something. I feel like maybe he knew those were interchangeable, and if he were to excel in like the best parts of those 3 pathways, then that would have been like his best possible outcome for him to transmigrate back to the real world. So, maybe. But why Marauder? Why would he have chosen Marauder or Apprentice? Maybe Apprentice, because after you've been an apprentice, you can become like a teacher. What about your theory about the Seer being compatible with every pathway? Well, look, long story short, I don't think it's necessarily because you're a Seer. I think it's Klein's own uniqueness being able to use the Gray Fog, right? Like, I genuinely believe, I still believe that. I still believe Klein will be able to interact with whatever fucking pathway he wants solely because of the Gray Fog, right? Like, if you're able to pull in all these other people, like, who's to say you can't pull in the uniqueness to, like, switch to any pathway you want? That's what I'm thinking. Remember when you speculated that, oh, yeah. Like, I mean, the more I think of it, I don't think Seer would be interchangeable with everything. I think the person that's able to utilize the Gray Fog would be able to switch with anything. I think that's what it is. So just to like change it up a bit, I don't think Seer can choose whatever he wants. Klein Demon is confirmed. Hey, yo, bro, if it ain't that bad, bro. If it helps him out, it helps him out. Whatever gets the job done, right, brothers and sisters? Whatever gets the job done, that's what it has to be. But I think him using the Gray Fog is going to allow him pick anything he wants. Okay, maybe not at sequence 4, because we know he can't get to that stairway of the heaven until he reaches sequence 4. So maybe once he reaches sequence 4, right, for Bizarro Sorcerer, and then he sees what's above those 4 steps, then he's going to be able to access anything else. Maybe that's the more like specific way. Not just the Gray Fog, but once you reach that higher plane of the Gray Fog and go above those steps, right, that stairway of heaven, then you'll have access to whatever you want. But he still needs to hit sequence. He said, I still need at least one more sequence before I reach that point. So I think from sequence 3 and on, he can be whatever he wants. I feel like he needs to reach demigod status and have access to the Gray Fog and whatever's above those high steps before he can pick whatever he wants. Klein proceeds to advance the Demoness for despair. Hey, man, if it gets the job done, right, guys? Well, hey, I think we're gonna end it there. Sorry, we only streamed for a little over 2 hours today. We're gonna hang out with the missus. We're gonna get some errands done, and if everything goes according to plan, I should be live. If everything goes according to plan, I should be live for a majority of tomorrow. Knock on wood. I should be able to go live a couple hours before the normal time, and I think we'll be good. So I'm gonna leave you guys there. Klein X Beastmaster. Hey, man, it's gonna happen, Nosferatu. He is going to hit Beastmaster in some way, shape, or form. All right, because the fact that he can now use a marionettist, a little bit. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a beautiful day. Moi, and I should hopefully see you guys soon. And it would mean the world to me if you guys do check out that To Be Hero X Reacts, episode 2 to 3. I think what I am gonna do now, I'm gonna see if I can find plugins to make the snippets seem more fluid. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna try my best to learn how to edit an anime react. I'm gonna work on it because I do want the Lord of Mysteries Dunkquad reactions to be fun and exciting, and I feel like this is a good learning curve for me. I mean, I got like 2 weeks at this point. I got a little over a week to like kind of figure it out, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun little journey, and it'll meet the world to me if you guys check that out. All right, guys, peace. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys soon. Okay, later, guys.